Justin Compton, Joe Palacios coach, 3-time IFBB champion, top 10 Olympian with 20 plus years of bodybuilding experience, known for his transparency, logical mindset, and massive fucking arms.
We did what we needed to do to get me to the next level, but it was nothing what I would say abnormal for a pro to do. Blood pressure, I was getting headaches, and I didn't really know why I was getting headaches until I checked out my blood pressure. I'm like 170. Okay, we have to stop this shit now. I told him what I was doing, and he goes, holy shit, dude. He's like, how can you write a paper? How can you write anything? I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand. And he goes, and I didn't realize this, but there was a supplier back in the day. It was called Elotropins, and they were green top. Then I switched over. I got the IP yellow tops. Is more better. So I was like, I'd take 10. Next day I took 11. Next day I took 12. I took 13. And I wasn't seeing any negative issues until I got to around 15 one time. This is Humalog, fast acting. When I was at 15, I did my blood work and prep, and my glucose, I got a call about this from the lab because it came back as critical. Joe is in his rebound that I'll pull back on the food, and he's like, oh shit, man, I was hoping you were going to give me more. Sorry, bro. You're literally putting on so much weight. This is not good. You can't go from I'm taking 2 or 3 compounds to just upping the dose and all of a sudden morphing into what he is today. On a scale of 1 to 100, his fullness is about 25%.
Damn.
But that's where he gets the best look with the most detail. To be grainy and just nasty hard like that. The thing with him, I had to look it up. I had to look the NDC numbers up to make sure because I didn't believe it. He had script anadrol, script anavar, and script halotestin. I didn't know script halotestin existed. I've never been a fan of Anadrol, but when I took this Anadrol, then I added Increlex. I did my typical rebound. So 2016 was my first and only year with Increlex experience. I do think it made a difference.
What was the protocol you did for yourself?
So
before starting this podcast, I just wanted to say that ideating steroids for a full show is not widely accepted because it discounts the real work, which is the backbone of this sport. And unfortunately spreads that an unsafe chemical solution is all you need for results. Both of these are antithetical to society's understanding of the sport. And while there will always be some that claim that PEDs are all you need, I would like to deliver an honest message of what is required for achieving top performance, as well as the dangers associated with this route. I received this comment from a user named Nightscarens. But just as a rock climber, the athletes undergoing this path in the sport are willing to put their life on the line for their passion. Just the danger between the two sports is different. Luckily, we do have safety nets in the sport, such as organ imaging and regular blood work. But that doesn't change the high risk one must accept in taking on this competitive lifestyle. How are you doing, brother? How have you been?
Oh, no other. Been a long day, but not too bad either.
Honestly, hold on, sorry, freaking this, give me one quick second.
Yeah, my physical technical difficulties in this jank-ass table.
This is what I get for trying to create my own personal podcast studio with limited budget and no editors.
That's why I don't really do hardly anything on social media, because I don't know how to. I never made the effort to learn.
It's valid, bro. It took me like 8 years to finally get it right, I'd say. So valid.
I've been doing social media since the beginning, but like, when it first came out, it was like you just make a post and a caption and that was it. But it's a long way since that. So I don't know anything about like how to do the new modern stuff. So I come on other people's shows, but that's why I haven't started my own shows, because I don't want to try to do all the editing and stuff.
It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. You do a pretty decent job though with your coaching Instagram profile, I think, showing off your athletes and stuff.
That's pretty much the only thing that I highlight. I still have I have a lot of footage of myself, and I don't post it because I don't really feel like it brings any traction.
Yeah, like as I'm saying, I'm obviously not perfect myself, because clearly this mic is actually not attached to the computer. You're actually listening to me through these earphone mics, but I have a completely different audio set for the actual recording, because I'm too lazy and too unknowledgeable to set up a mic for the computer and then use that audio for the editing. I don't know. It's a lot. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't
even know what I'm talking about
at all.
But no, like I was saying, I feel like you could do a decent job of showing off your athletes, and I think for a coach, now that you have been coaching, I think it seems to me that that's an important thing now, and like this era, because Patrick Tuor, my coach, seems to be a good example of someone who knows how to show off his athletes really well, and in that fashion kind of reels people in like me, to be honest. Like, I've followed Patrick's journey for a long time, knew that he coached Ian, but like when I was seeing his content with Nihat, which is like the 22-year-old,
Yeah,
212, right, and then Stefan NFC, and then obviously Keon, you're kind of just like, what is this guy's European secret, you know?
I honestly don't know. Like, I don't know that much about like Patrick's style, to be fair.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons that's fun for me to have this podcast, is maybe I can figure out what exactly is different. So maybe we can figure that out today.
Whatever he does, I mean, he's got a good method and it works for him, so we can't knock that.
No, I totally agree. My best look has been with Patrick, the best look I've ever had, and I only plan on continuing that with him. So we'll see. But
so how long have you been? Because you've been a pro for what? Is it 2 years or 3 years?
Okay, so my situation is very complicated because even when I turned pro, it wasn't the proper way. Prefacing this real quick, I really love all the things that you've said on podcasts, and I'll talk about it too here in a second, because you've been so open and transparent. I think that's offered the industry a lot of value, because just like you said on, I think it was like Muscle and Strength, about how there's guys that are talking about 500 is the right way and 10 grams of test is the right way. And then you have all these people in the middle that are listening, just trying to figure out what is right. What should they do? What should they not do? And I think that's the most valuable piece of information right now, because even in this era, you still have comments on TikTok, for example, where people are claiming guys need to be taking 10 grams of gear, and that's just absolutely not true. Not only are you going to burn yourself out too early, and you're probably not going to look great at the end, but you could die, obviously. So there's some pretty serious business in what you're providing, and there's not a lot of people that are as open as you are. So I just wanted to thank you for that, man. I think a lot of people really, really respect you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I have people all the time that'll say like, it says like, oh, you're lying about this, not directly towards me, but just talking about professional bodybuilders in general, how like we lie about what we do and what we take. And I said, okay, I understand some of them probably do. For whatever reason, I don't know. I kind of feel like if you're going to talk about it, just be straight about it, or just don't talk about it at all. But I look at it, and I always flip the script on them when I have this conversation. I'm like, so think about it from my perspective. So why would I bullshit my clients? Because I want them to be, think about it. The better your clients is, the more clients you're going to have. The more clients you have, the more money you make. And at the end of the day, we're all chasing money, right? So it's like, why would I bullshit to hold back my own clients to hurt my own business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I think people just, there's almost like this level of like, it's like not even deep enough thinking. It's like there's a lot of people that just have this cynical mindset where they believe everybody just wants to gain for themselves, but then they don't realize like there's more to lying. Like if you lie about your dose, saying that it's this low, you're not just saying that you're better than everybody because you respond to a lower dose. Like there's a lot of things that come with you lying. Like if you get found out that you're lying, or the fact that people trying to explain this properly, but I think you know what I'm getting at. It's like the reasoning behind people thinking that everyone is lying behind dosages is kind of ridiculous.
I don't understand, like, when it comes to, like, just, again, people lying about, like, what they do or they don't do. I don't get it because, it's a number. Like, what took me, like, whatever I took to get to the top may not be what it takes for the next guy to get to the top. But as long as your blood markers are good and your health is good, like, what does it matter if you did it on 500 milligrams of test or 1,500 milligrams of test? Like, it really doesn't matter, in my opinion. So I don't know what I don't know what people feel like they would have to gain by downplaying it. But like if I told you, I turned pro on 300 tests and 100 tren and 20 milligrams of Winstrol, like obviously that's not what I turned pro on. But like hypothetically, if that's what I told people, how does that benefit me? Like it doesn't benefit me. Like I'm not trying to belittle other people, nor am I trying to hold other people back, but it doesn't benefit me. So I don't understand why people do that.
I think they think it's an ego thing. But not everybody has like not everybody prioritizes their ego over something like you, like who prioritizes your business and the respect from your clients and the trust that your clients have with you and other people's lives. Like some people actually value other people's lives over just their egos. But that's why I guess, you know, maybe it's just a projection, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you do have some people out there that, like you said, they want to feel superior.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, if it makes you feel good to do that, I mean, whatever. But
yeah, for sure. Anyways, responding to your last question, the reason my thing is complicated is like I didn't do it really correctly. So I was with a coach and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand PEDs. I didn't understand bodybuilding. Plus, I was also scared of it. And I was also scared of injections at the time as well. So I kept telling him that I wanted to be natty. So I ended up winning my pro card on Winstrol and Halotestin. And I never injected anything prior to that. So essentially, super crashed testosterone since I was on orals for about like a year. Also, my liver enzymes were in the 300s. Doctor thought that I might have hemochromatosis. So they wanted me to get a liver biopsy. It was just like a huge mess. And obviously, I also didn't know, how do I feel better? What's going on? Turns out that I have low test, but you know, that's not something I was aware of at the time. So I had to undergo like a good 6-month period of like, you know, feeling depressed, not knowing what was going on. I was living with 2 girls that were, one of them was my best friend. The other one was, I think maybe this, I think she was my girlfriend at the time. I'm not sure if she was my girlfriend yet, but anyways, and they would be telling me like, nah, you need to work on your mental health. Like you need to kind of like focus on like your mindfulness and your mental health and shit. And like giving me the spirituality talk, which I do consider myself spiritual, but I'm just like, the shit ain't fucking mental health. There's like something physically fucking wrong with me. You know what I mean?
yeah, your test levels is like hundreds or lower. I mean, it's going to affect you psychologically, but it's more of a physical thing.
No, 100%. Like people need to attack what comes. Like people need to attack the chemistry and the biology of their body first. Make sure everything is right, which is literally just make sure that you're healthy, and then once you do that, that's where mental health is just so much more prominent in helping you move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'll still help you when you're not healthy, but when you're not healthy, it's not going to matter. You're still going to feel like shit every day. You know what I mean? So anyways, yeah, but basically, my pro card was in 2019. And then because of all that shit, I took like 4 years off. I was kind of scared of competing because of that. And I also, needed to make money because I dropped out of engineering and I had no money for like a year or 2 years. I was struggling. So I was like, I want to be a bodybuilder, but I want to like, you know, I got to figure out how to like make this content thing, do this content thing that you and I were just talking about. So I spent the next 3 to 4 years just trying to stay shredded and like post as much content as possible. And that's how I finally got here. So it paid off, but I'm just behind because I had like 4 to 5 years of just basically zero growth and no calorie surplus, you know?
Let me ask you a question. I want to go back on something. You said engineering, or did you end up finishing that or go back to that?
Yeah, so I finished school. I moved to California to get my master's at UCSD in biomechanical engineering, but a week before that's when I dropped out. I'm like, I fucking hate this. Like I just want to lift weights and take sick vids of myself.
So we actually have a lot in common because I don't know if you know this, but I actually have an engineering degree as well.
Oh no shit. I did not. That's fucking sick, bro. Wait, what's the
electronics?
Nice.
Now, I will say this. Towards the end of it, like my senior year, I started realizing like I really don't know if I want to do this shit the rest of my life. I really don't, like, because I was based in Kentucky. That's where I was born and raised at. So if you're an engineer in Kentucky, chances are you're either going to be in construction management or you're going to be working in a factory somewhere. Neither of which was appealing to me.
Yeah, right.
So like I had the option, like right when I graduated college was whenever I did my first national show. It was like, you can either try to make this bodybuilding thing work or you're going to be a regular blue collar guy working 9 to 5, which that's what most people have to do. Even if you are a pro bodybuilder, that's still what a lot of people have to do. Like just like in today's time, you get your pro card, it doesn't mean anything per se as far as financial status. So like you win your pro card, you're not having people giving you thousands of dollars a month. That's not how it works nowadays. So I thought that, I was immediately going to go somewhere with it, but I ended up becoming a loan officer during my first national show and getting my pro card, mostly because I had to make a decision. It was like, you can't work dead end jobs. Like at this point, you're 23 years old. You got to pick your shit up. You're going to be an adult. You're going to do things the right way. And I worked as a loan officer. So I did mortgage loans, mostly did refis. So that's what I did during that period. And I did it because I was making the same money that I was going to make as an engineer, but I got a chance to sit down at an office. I could literally make my schedule. Like, I hate to say this, but like if a customer and client wanted to come in at 12:30 and I didn't want to be there at 12:30, I would just tell them I was busy. I would make other people work around my schedule. I mean, selfish as that sounds, it worked out for me as well. I never had any complaints. I got the job done.
Yeah. Damn, that is fucking crazy and epic.
But there was a point, like towards the end of that, though, I was going to have to make a decision. It was like, I had been bodybuilding since I was like 14 years old, and I've been competing since I was 18 years old. So I was like, you're either going to have to make this work. You're not going to be that guy who competes for 10 or 12 years or 15 years straight, hoping to get your pro card. Because like, if it took me that long to get my pro card, like 15 tries, what am I going to really do as a pro? Like these guys are going to just hand me my ass. So I'm not going to make any money. So I kind of came to that decision. Like when I turned pro in 2012, it was like, you're either going to win this pro card or you're going to forget about it. Like, that's it. Like I gave myself an ultimatum. So I pushed myself every single day. Nothing got in the way, no deviations. And that's kind of how it worked, because I had full intentions of going to an engineering position. Like, I think Nationals is in November in 2012. Like I had full intentions. I had already planted the seeds. Like I was going to be an engineer by like December. And then I got my pro card. That opened a couple of doors for me, and I decided to wait a little bit longer, and I'm glad I did because it paid off. And ultimately it gave me the life that I wanted, to be able to eat, sleep, and work out. Yeah. And I got paid to do that. And then when I retired, I still have the life that I like because I make my own schedule. I get to help other people. It's kind of like I get to live vicariously through them as well.
Yeah, it kind of gives me chills, man, because that was the same place for me. I had to work I did end up working as an engineer for a year, and the entire time I absolutely fucking hated it.
Like I'm a very when it comes to time, I'm very structured. Mm-hmm. Like if I tell you that we're going to train at 12 o'clock and we agree on that, and you show up at 12:15, I'm 2 exercises deep. Like I don't wait around.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the engineering positions that I was offered, it was like you have a salary position. Most of the time, it's going to be like 7 to 3 or 7 to 3, maybe 7 to 4. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be times like say 2:30 comes around, an issue comes up, a problem comes up. You're the guy who has to fix that problem. So you may think that you're going to work out, or you may think it's a Friday night, you're going on a date or whatever. No, you're going to be there until 9 or 10 o'clock, making sure that problem is resolved. I was like, I'm going to have a hard time with this. Like, I'm going to have a very hard time knowing I've got a full day planned after work, and now I just got to cancel all of that at the last second. But that's the trade-off. When you're a salary position, that's how it works.
Especially with bodybuilding and everything. Yeah. Also, just a little sidetrack, but I love that you're from Kentucky. There's a lot of people in Kentucky that I find family to me, and a lot of people that I respect a lot there. So it's kind of cool to hear, because whenever I hear you talking, it kind of feels like
the accent.
It just like feels very homey and familiar to me, So
mine's kind of wore off a little bit, or at least I think it has, compared to when I actually did live in Kentucky. Like if you watch my videos from 10 years ago, my accent kind of changed a little bit because I've gotten away from it. But it used to be very thick country accent.
It's still pretty thick though, low-key.
It's not as bad as it was. So I mean, I want to pat myself on the back for that one, because I mean, when I was a kid, I used to say like, instead of like rolling down the window,
it'd
be like, I'm going to roll the window down. And people would look at me like, what the hell did he say? But that was like the slang. That's like the West Virginia, Kentucky thing.
Yeah. We're from Kentucky. Where are you from?
I was born in Moorhead, Kentucky, but I was raised in Mount Sterling. That's about an hour east of Lexington.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours east of Louisville.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are the town. Those are really the only two towns that most. If you're not from Kentucky, those are the two towns that you know.
Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of time in like Mount. Oh my God, I'm brain farting.
Dauda?
No, it was south of Louisville, but basically around Louisville area. Just a lot of places around Louisville, essentially.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways, I also wanted to say though, you have one of the craziest fucking physiques, man. That I think I feel like I've ever seen. Like straight up, like the amount of like size and proportions at the same time that you were able to build in the amount of time, and then just keep that waist so small, especially in like 2016, was pretty fucking crazy, dude.
That show, the one that you tagged on or tagged me on Instagram, that was, in my opinion, my favorite look. I know a lot of people really like the 2014 Orlando look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people like that's because that was the show that they learned about me at, because that was my first pro in. But I think the 2016 version, if I could have brought the Golden State look, if I would have brought that look to the Olympia, I don't think I would have finished 10th. I think I would have been somewhere fifth at best and maybe 7th at worst. I think I would have surpassed at least 3 or 4 more guys.
I could fucking see that, man, because that
the
that
top
physique
5
is
that
pretty
year,
nasty. That's fucking
the
crazy.
top 5 that year. Like I remember going backstage, and that was probably William Bonnet's breakout year as well.
Okay.
Like when he really got on the map. And leading into that show, I was thinking like, I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm thinking who I'm gonna beat, who I'm not gonna beat. William wasn't on my radar. And then as soon as we started pumping up, I was like, okay, that's gonna be a problem over there. And then Phil's like over in the corner, like just got his headphones on, not talking to anyone. I mean, we all kind of knew that we weren't going to beat Phil Heath. Like that was kind of given. Then I saw Rami, and I was like, okay, I'm not beating that either. He lives up to the name, Big Rami. He was definitely the biggest guy on the show, and he actually peaked pretty well at that show too. I think he was like 4th. I think he was 4th that year. And then somewhat Dexter and Sean was somewhere in between him and Phil.
Damn, bro. All absolute legends. Jesus. Those are some crazy years.
Well, I mean, technically all 4 of those guys ended up being Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. Yeah. True. You also, I think one of the impressive things too, though, that I really respect about you is that after your competitive season, I feel like you've had some pretty great achievements as a coach pretty quickly, in my opinion. And like, I think you and Joe have done some amazing work together.
Yeah, but I also have like a little bit of a different background on that than a lot of people. Like when I was still actively competing, I was like low key kind of coaching people, but only people that I knew and trusted. Like I had to have a physical, like, so in 2012 and 2013, I coached people just straight up for the money. That's literally it. It was because I needed money. It's not because I wanted to do it. It's not because I had a passion for it. It was me being honest. It was money. And then I started thinking, after I started doing well in pro shows, I was like, ouch, like someone had sent me a screenshot of another coach, and it had like the email, and then at the bottom, like it had his name on it. And at the bottom, it had all the PED protocols. And I was like, this was, keep in mind, this was 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. So you couldn't really talk about that stuff back then. It was not something you could be open about and still be a top level pro. Like it was kind of like hush hush. So I was like, I can't be doing this because like if I'm gonna try to be Mr. Olympia, I really don't want the emails out there where it was like my email address, my name, and at the bottom it's like 750 test, 500 this. Right. I'm telling people what to take is like this is not a good look back in 2013. So I actually stopped. But I coached very select people, like people that I knew that actually had my back, and they're not going to just screenshot this and send it out to people.
I see.
So I had a good solid 15 to 20 clients at that time. Like my first pro card was actually Brian Bolzano. So I'd been doing it for a good period of time at that point. So I had some experience leading up into it. And then when I actually started like opening my doors, to be fair about it, like it wasn't something that I expected to take off. It was not anything that I figured it was going to be like a side hustle for me, if anything. And I liked it at that time because I was no longer competing. And when I wasn't competing, the stress of that was gone. So coaching people, it changed my dynamic and view of it. But then I thought I was going to be in basically stocks and bonds. That's what I thought I was going to do with myself after competing. And then that really wasn't, it was going, but it wasn't going the direction I wanted to go in. Like not as fast. Like I thought, oh, I'm going to make all this money and just become wealthy. Like, I'm going to take a few classes. And it doesn't work like that. I mean, I made money, but I didn't make the money I was looking for. But then I started getting, a good influx of clients. And then obviously out of a good influx of clients, you're going to have, I hate to say this, but you're going to have good ones, you're going to have bad ones. And then I started having success with that. And then more people started coming in and it just kind of became like a thing. Like I kind of just transitioned into being a full-time coach.
Got it. Okay. What were some of the things that shocked you most when you started coaching? Because I'm assuming that you were, I'm assuming a primary, sorry, honestly, my mind is going to be moving slowly today because we were up till 5 a.m. in the
Yeah, that's dark.
So yeah, not to just like surprise the audience. Yeah, we just had a little, it wasn't me, but someone had to be at the ER and we were up till 5 a.m. Because fucking dude, the ER's in America, man. I was so disappointed.
They all suck.
We were there waiting for like two hours for one of the tests and then 2 hours again for the CT scan. And then after the CT scan, we had to wait for at least another 2 hours before we got the results of the CT scan. And you can't leave or else that's leaving against medical advice and they won't explain to you the results. So it's crazy. Like we were there for like 5 fucking hours at least.
Yeah. So if you leave, it's AMA and then your insurance doesn't cover anything.
Yeah.
And then you were stuck with a huge bill.
And this girl's fucking kidneys are in pain and like fucking just like intense flu symptoms. And I'm like, you're really going to make this person wait here on this chair around all these people for 5 to 6 hours.
I've already determined that if like I ever have a major medical issue, I'm probably just going to die in the hospital waiting room because I'm not going to do anything. I could go in there with like literally like my arm chopped off and blood squirting out. Like, okay, sir, have a seat over there. We'll get to you in a little bit.
I know, man.
Like that's how it's going to be.
For real. Anyways, I'm assuming most of your experience was all with yourself, like competing as a solo competitor and individual. And now, as you started to excel in the space and climb the ladder, you started taking on those clients, as you said. So I guess what were the things that surprised you the most when you started taking on clients and you started trying to experiment with them?
Honestly, like for myself, I think up until 2013, I was a very isolated bodybuilder. Okay. Like when I was an amateur, I had maybe like 5 bodybuilding friends total. And these 5 friends were like, they were just as hardcore as I was. Like we didn't party. Like we didn't go out to clubs. We didn't drink alcohol. We didn't do recreational drugs. We didn't cheat on our diets. We did everything textbook by the book. And I just assumed that all bodybuilders we all thought alike, right? That's what I assumed. And then I remember when I went to the Olympia in 2013, I saw all the guys just like people that I had like admired over the years I'd looked up to. I'm not going to name names on anyone, but like we went to like some of the cabana parties. I thought it was going to be a bunch of bodybuilders hanging out, drinking water and, having some chicken and rice or whatever. Oh, no. I saw every drug that I could possibly think of there. And I'm like completely baffled. Like this is going on in the bodybuilding. I'm like, of all people, like we shouldn't be doing this. Like guys sitting there chugging beers, like with like the beer bongs and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is really going down. Like I've been following that guy for 10 years. Like I've been watching his career. Now I'm watching him, drink from a keg. Like this is not normal.
Fire.
Like
warm beer and cold women.
Yeah. So I noticed that. And then I also noticed that a lot of the guys, like when they would run expos or just like when they're out of town, they're not following their plans. They're not following their diet. They're not training. Or if they are training, they're half-assing it. And I'm like, and I'm watching this and I'm like, am I crazy for being this hardcore, or are these guys just slacking? And then I also noticed with my clientele, since that was the actual question, I noticed I have some guys who think this is going to be just a walk in the park, and it's going to be easy. And then some of them will embrace it, and the ones that embrace it like for what it is, those are the ones that succeed. And then I have a lot of people that, like, when I first started coaching, like, there was a couple of times I had a few failures, and I'm like, damn, do I not know what I'm doing? Like, I'm sitting here second guessing and questioning myself, only for me to find out like a week or two later or a month or two later, because like bodybuilding is a small community. We're all kind of connected or intertwined in some way, shape, or form. And I'm like, I'll be talking to like this person's best friend, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, he was cheating here. I'm like, are you serious? Like, we're 2 weeks out and this dude's going out to eat and burgers and bullshit. Like,
Oh, that's crazy.
What the hell's going, like, so I noticed that, and that was a huge shock to me. It's like, you pay a coach, like you're in a, I mean, I think I would consider myself very cheap back then. When I got started, I was $100 a month.
That's
like,
crazy.
Way, at $100 a month is like, you're still paying this. You're still paying a stranger that you don't know to tell you what to eat, but you're not actually eating it. So the logic behind that, I mean, I just couldn't understand it, like why people would do that. And I was able to kind of figure out like who's following the plan, who is it. And obviously, there's diagnosing, troubleshooting some things in people's plans, because there is no one, like we say, like one size fits all. So that's why I like working with people long term. Like, I don't immediately, like, if I don't see results on someone within 2 weeks, I don't immediately just say, oh, they're not doing it, because that's not how it works.
Right.
And probably in 2014 or 15, that may have been what I would have said. I would have been like, oh, he's not seeing results, he's just not following. And then I started educating myself further and becoming more knowledgeable about the sport, and basically networking with the right people and just furthering my own knowledge.
Got it. My belief around that is that some people just aren't cut out for it. Like
100%.
Some people,
you're 100% right.
Some people just, and the weird thing is like, you could have two people that are technically, I mean, obviously this isn't measurable, but like two people that are working equally as hard, but one of them is just more disciplined because either say they've had a lot more exercising that discipline throughout their entire life since they were a kid, or maybe it's nature. Maybe it's something that's, hereditary. But either way though, like, it's just, some people just can't for some reason. I don't really know why. I mean, that is why, but it's like, I think if they just exercise that discipline muscle, it gets easier and easier over time, regardless of like whether or not you're someone that is, has like an addictive personality, or you're someone that doesn't have a high ability to focus or something. You know what I mean? I
think the addictive
I still think that's a muscle you
personality
can exercise.
And also the ability to, like, someone who likes routine. Like, if you're someone who doesn't like a routine, bodybuilding is going to be very, very difficult for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, if you want to be an elite bodybuilder, when I say elite, let me back that up a little bit. If you want to win shows, whether it be the Mr. California or the Mr. Olympia, you're going to have a routine that you're going to wake up on. You're going to probably have a drink that you have in the morning. You're going to have a set routine that's going to look the same every day. Versus, like, if you're just a guy who gets up and just lives his life, on the fly, you're probably going to find it really hard to be a top level bodybuilder and win shows.
Totally agree with that. I do have to ask though, how do you feel like people like Samson can thrive so much through traveling when it's like so not monotonous?
That's something that, like, I struggled with as well when I competed. Like, in order to do bodybuilding, you are going to have to do the traveling and the business side of it as well. I mean, you don't technically have to, but like for me, if I didn't do guest postings and stuff like that, I wouldn't have the things like around me that I have today, because I made a lot of side money doing that. So I assume that Samson's getting that as well. But like, I would literally, it was a pain in my ass. There's no doubt about this. It was a pain, but I made sure that all my meals was prepped, and I would take them with me. And like, hypothetically, if there's something spoils, something goes bad, luggage gets lost, I would go to the grocery store. And yeah, it was stressful, but at the same time, I had to remind myself, this is your only job. Like, this is your only job, is to eat your meals and train. How hard can that possibly be? Sometimes it's going to be inconvenient because, it'd be nice to get off the plane at 8 o'clock at night and know that you can just go to your hotel and, get some room service food and go to sleep. But that's not reality of bodybuilding. So, it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of inconvenience factor to it. But I just assume that, like, with all the guys today that are traveling, that they're either preparing their meals themselves, they're getting them frozen, taking them on the planes, or they're doing that. Or, like, in Samson's case, since you mentioned him, he's, like, kind of off season right now. He's not doing the Arnold, is he?
I
don't think he is.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Because I heard he was talking about getting up to 350 pounds, which I don't know if that's the greatest idea or not, but
no, I don't know.
He probably eats like 5 out of 6 meals is probably his structured plan. And he's probably, because when you have that much muscle mass, if he goes and has a steak and potato, he's just going to rip right through that. Like those extra calories, if he does get something, is not going to make a difference on a physique like that. And he obviously knows how to buckle up and dial things in when it comes time to prep. And as a matter of fact, I think he actually pushed too hard. Because he got criticized for not being like hard enough at the 2014 Olympia. I think he pushed so hard that he lost muscle this past year. I think that's the reason he fell to 4th. I think if he would have replicated last year, he would have probably still been the champ.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think he definitely pushed way too hard. And that's the unfortunate thing that Quentin Beastwood and I discussed, that other people don't have a problem with. So
he's definitely one of those guys that if he goes too hard, he gets stringy.
Right. Yeah. Like it's like they get flatter, but they don't really get drier quite as much. Versus you have someone like Martin who can push really fucking hard. Literally he had a depletion phase where I think it was at least a week and a half where he was on 0 carbs, just protein and veg. And also he and Boss of Outlaw decided to pull GH and test 2 weeks out of Olympia and then keep it out till fucking Prague, which is crazy, right? And bro's full as a house after they carved out, but dude was peeled, dude. Fucking dry as shit. And sometimes I don't know. I'd say I don't want to associate any like qualities with like a certain demographic or like a certain like ethnic group, because it's not always like that. Even though, yeah, East Asians like tend to have problems building their backs, but it seems to be like the darker skinned guys, especially like black guys, tend to share that commonality where it's like they're very full and round, but not all of them get that same really peeled, dry skin. Yeah, super skin, like low collagen look that some of the white guys can get.
Yeah. No, it is a thing. I mean, it's not a racist thing to say. It's just a fact when you look at the guys like across the board that compete. I mean, there's obviously like exceptions to the rule, like Ronnie Coleman, Kai Green, Dexter Jackson, those guys. Mm-hmm. But like you take like Akeem Williams. Akeem has such a hard time. Like I've heard he's done 3 hours of cardio. Like I've heard about the crazy diuretic protocols, like no carbs for like a month and stuff like that. And he's still like from the front, he's on point and he's round and bubbly, but he still has that little like, I don't know if it's water. I don't know if it's fat. I don't know if it's just thick skin or what it is. But like when he turns to the back, that's where he loses, unfortunately.
Yeah, gotcha. Speaking of crazy diet or the crazy diuretic protocols, what are some of the craziest protocols that you've maybe heard of that you believe are actually potentially true in your past that you think probably were not conducive?
That I personally did or what I've heard about?
Well, honestly, I'm kind of curious about both.
Okay, so my own personal like diuretic protocol, like I don't think I've done anything that would be detrimental or like harmful to myself per se. So when I worked with Shelby in 2010, I think because keep in mind, this was 15 years ago. I know for a fact we used Diazod on Friday and we also used it on the day of the show, but I think we took a small dose of it on Thursday as well. And I will say, after I won that show, the cramps that I got was, I really thought I was going to go to the ER. But really, I mean, it was Diazod, and you would have to do some crazy shit to die from Diazod. And that was the highest dose Diazod. I think I maybe took two total pills of Diazod over the course of 3 days.
Okay.
But obviously the water being restricted, food's going up, so we're sucking things up and we're drying out.
Yeah.
So that plays a role into it that a lot of people don't think about. I think after that, when I worked with Factory, we did use diuretics, but it was very, very mild. It was just enough to get the job done. It was either, I'm pretty sure it was just Diazide. I'm very confident of that. It was Diazide. And then the show that ironically, the Golden State show, I didn't use any diuretics for that. I didn't use any. And that's when I felt like I actually looked my best. And I started realizing that, maybe this stuff is not doing me any favors at this point.
Not necessarily.
The last show I did, I probably needed them on the last show that I did. I opted not to do them at that one. But I did have a friend. He wasn't full on coaching me, but we were kind of like bouncing ideas back and forth. He's actually from your area, but he's no longer with us anymore. It was Dave Kalick.
Okay.
Dave passed away, I think it's been 2 years now. He kind of helped guide me through that. We agreed not to do any diuretics, but I genuinely feel like I probably should have on that one because I wasn't really at my best.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the craziest stuff I've seen, I won't drop the athlete's name and I won't drop the coach's name, but
yeah, you don't have to. Definitely
the most absolutely retarded death protocol. This particular person had health complications. I don't know if it was from this exact protocol, but they were in the emergency room very shortly after this, and there was a lot of major complications. But it was like 10 days out, aldactone. And it took me a second to think about that because I don't use aldactone. It's just none of my protocols is going to have aldactone in it. But it was like 10 days of aldactone, and it wasn't low dose. It wasn't 25 milligrams. It was like started at 50 and it ramped up to 100.
Jesus Christ.
And
why?
Then at 3 days out, it was Diazide. It was like a pill and a half a day for like 3 days. Oh, it gets better. And then the last day, Lasix was added in.
Oh.
And the person telling me this.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
This was a former client of mine. It was someone that I had built like a friendship with, and I still have a friendship with to this day. I was actually in their room, and someone else finished that prep, which that's a whole different conversation on its own, which I wish they would have went with me because I feel like they would have probably not had those complications.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, like they're telling me what they did, and the whole time I'm just kind of like staring, like confused. But I was like, I don't want to say anything because if I say something, like it's like, for example, I hate when people get in my clients' ears. Like, oh yeah, you should be a little fuller. I'm like, no, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Overthink.
You take one person and you listen to that one person. You can't be combining 4 different people's opinions together and expect a good outcome of that. So I just sat there and I'm just like, this is not good. This is not healthy for them. I was like, but I can't control it. That's their coach now, and it is what it is. I was like, I will revisit this conversation with them after the show, but until then, and then guess what? They got their pro card at that show too. I mean, at what cost? I mean, the cost was almost their life.
Yeah.
And then what was weird about it was like the food. The food was like, because this particular person had to starve basically to get into shape. And they get into shape, and instead of like mildly carbing up or like doing it like on a safer, clean note, it was like burgers, fries, Pop-Tarts, like all kinds, like just massive amounts of junk food. I'm like,
what the hell?
I just looked at, and this particular coach is not, he's not a rookie, and he's very well known. So it's like, really? Like I couldn't really believe what I was seeing from this. And I kind of thought this person was bullshitting me. I was like, they're doing what they want to do. And no, I actually saw the protocol on the phone. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, do you? Like, just follow what your coach does at this point. What am I going to do?
Did the protocol actually say Pop-Tarts?
Yeah. Yes, legitimately. It said Pop-Tarts. It was like a bunch of other junk food as well. Like, I don't remember everything. This has been several years ago as well. But I remember when I walked into the room, I just saw like a bunch of junk food on the countertop, and I'm like, this is not going to end well. But yeah, I mean, it ended well enough that they got their pro card.
You should let me know after this podcast if the coaches still take it on clients just asking for a friend.
Yeah, they are.
Pop-Tarts. Uh, do you would you feel like this coach is the kind of coach that would probably ramp up the dosages to, when people are claiming like everyone's taking, like all the top bodybuilders are taking 10 grams. I have definitely seen coaches that, and I'm not going to name them as well, but from my personal experience, one of the reasons why I started this podcast is because a couple of my friends, one of my friends had to go to the ER because his first cycle was his first prep, but his coach gave him the standard prep cycle that you would give an average client, which includes like 300 mgs of test or tren. This is his first cycle ever. So there seems to be coaches that will just give someone a cookie cutter plan that they feel like works without considering that person's drug history. And I think that's the most important part.
I always ask like my new startup clients, like, and sometimes I have to like pry this information out of them, but I will put on there, like, I don't do like an intake form, but like once they contact me on WhatsApp and we get things going, I will say, I need 12-month PED history. I want to know what you've done. And I have to say, be specific. I want your dosages. I want your compounds. I want your duration. How long were you off for? Like, I need timelines here. And 12 months of history, I don't think that's asking for a lot. Like, if you're taking, serious drugs, you should know when you took it, how much you took, how often you took, when you stopped, when you started. You don't got to say, I started on January 3rd, like the exact day. But say like I did 12 weeks here, 6 weeks off, 10 weeks off, 12 weeks off, or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
I always ask that up front.
Yeah, I'm glad you do too. Like that's what freaking any respectable coach would honestly do. So, and logical. I think.
And obviously I ask people as well, like, before I build anything, like I want to know, like, if you have you taken this and did you have problems with this? Like, because if someone tells me, like, because I've ran into a lot of guys that don't like EQ, they say it gives them anxiety.
Yeah.
I never experienced that, but like, if you have anxiety from EQ, I'm not going to put EQ in the plan. It's that simple. Like we work around that.
Right. So something that I really enjoyed that you said on one of the podcasts, and I think this might have been also the Muscle and Strength podcast, but I would love to discuss this because I had this discussion with Ian Valair, and I think it was an amazing discussion that people really enjoyed on us kind of coming to a conclusion. Just since, there's people here saying this dose and there's people here saying this many grams of dosages. But you said that if you're on the high end, say using 4 grams of test, you need to go golfing or find something else to do.
Yeah.
I got mine on 1,000 to 1,200 grams of test. And when you're speaking to all the pros and you're getting to 1,000 to 1,500, they all tend to say the same thing.
That's the sweet spot.
So Ian Valair and I were kind of making a discussion on where we felt like people, like open pro bodybuilders, kind of landed in terms of dose range. Not necessarily the top open pros, but like open pro bodybuilders that compete in maybe like, I don't know, maybe they get close to Olympian level, or maybe they do qualify for Olympia, but they're not necessarily the top spots. And we've seen the ranges anywhere from 750 mgs of test to 1,500 grams of, 1,500 grams.
1,500 milligrams.
750 mgs to 1,500 mgs of test. So, which to me sounds like the exact same thing that you're saying, right? 750 to
that's pretty standard across the board.
1,000 to 1,200. It seems pretty standard. Like the average is maybe around a gram of test, right? For like an open.
I would say that's pretty average, yeah.
Yeah. So I think people just seem to be blowing this out of proportion, and I'm just really glad that this is coming open now because there's people. I think it's just showing you that you don't have to take like 2 grams, 3 grams of test to do things, and you don't have to claim that somebody is lying. Like you can do this in a very coercive and like conscious manner, and monitor your blood work all at the same time, and make sure you're healthy, quote unquote, respectively healthy while you're doing it. Instead of just like, I need to take 3 grams, blast, and then probably come off for a certain amount of time because, hopefully it'll just make me a little bit healthier by then, and then fucking blast 3 grams again, and then, something that's like shooting a dart in the dark. So, in terms of these doses though, I guess I have a question for you just to like, this is like kind of just a theoretical thing, but if you had to guess where you felt like a range of dosages were for, say, the classic physique competitors that were at Olympia or the men's physique competitors at Olympia, what would you say about that?
I don't think it really I don't think there's that much of a difference of like what people may think, because for some reason we have this enigma out there that the bigger guys have to be taking more gear. And that's not always the case, because I have seen and I've worked with classic guys who have taken more than some of my open guys. Mm-hmm. I have seen men's physique guys taking, I've seen amateur level men's physique guys do my Olympia cycles. Like I've literally seen that across the board. So like, I don't think that there's no one size fits all. And when it comes to people and like the dosages, kind of rewinding on this a little bit, there's a couple of things here to take into consideration. You know, not everyone's going to respond the same. So there's that. There is hyper responders, there's regular responders, and then there's what I call hypo responders. Because I know some people that like, I know they're putting in the hard work. I know they're training with absolutely everything they got. I know they're following the diet, and they're taking the gear and they're just going, you know, a couple of pounds of muscle a year, 2, 3, 4 pounds. And then there's the guys who can use less than that, and they're putting on 10 to 12 pounds a year, making substantially more progress. So you got to take that into consideration. But like, a lot of people don't understand that. They just assume that like whatever dose works for you, it has to do the same for me. And that's not the case. I mean, like, for example, if you were to talk to any doctor, I'll go a little bit off the rails with this one, but like, I've always had sleep issues. And I remember talking to a sleep specialist one time, and she wanted me to use Seroquel. That's a very bad idea. Don't use Seroquel. But like, I told her I had one experience with it in the past, and it was a terrible experience. And she goes, well, how much did you take? And of course, she asked me if it was prescribed. I said, no, I got it on my own. Mm-hmm. But I told her I took 200 milligrams. And she goes, no, you can't start there. So she ends up giving me 25 and then 50. And then once I found the spot where I could sleep, the side effects were there. So like, I don't like Seroquel, but like, I was talking to her about it, and I said, what's a normal dose of this? And she goes, there is no normal dose. She goes, I have some patients on 25 milligrams and I have some patients on 500 milligrams.
Oh my God. I love that you're saying this right now.
So that was literally coming from, they made me go to like is it psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever in order to get the medications, because that's not something that your regular primary care is going to do. So now I go to what's called it's a pulmonary doctor. He's the one who prescribes the sleep meds, but mostly because like when it comes to sleep, you're thinking about like a lot of doctors, they don't want to prescribe you the meds because they don't know if it's insomnia or if it's apnea. Because if it's apnea and you take the wrong sleep meds, you may go to sleep and never wake up again if it's sleep apnea. So I went through a pulmonary specialist to get mine done. And I've got a perfect combination. I'm not saying it works. The average person probably still sleeps better than me, but I'm doing the best that I can do now. But back to the gear topic, you know, some guys may respond good on 500. Some guys may need 1,000. Some guys need to be 1,500. But I think once you get to a certain threshold, it's like, if you're not seeing the results or the progress, this is where like you need to realize like you're not made for this. Like this, you are the hypo responder. You're not made for this. But instead, what those guys do is like take, John Doe over here who took 1,500 milligrams of test, and I'm going to make shit up. He took like 800 EQ. He added 100 milligrams of Anadrol. He took GH. He took insulin, and he still looks average. He looks like a mediocre novice level competitor. So when he sees the bigger guy over in the corner, it's automatically, well, that guy's on like 4 grams because I'm doing 1,500 and I look like this, and he's way ahead of me. So then he tells his buddies all this, and then that becomes more of a thing. I think that's one thing that's been kind of faulty in this industry. And then the other, I'm not going to name names on this either because they're not really worth the attention. But I know of 3 people off the top of my head that pushes extreme dosages. And they always like to, every now and then I'll see a clip where it's like, you know, if you want to reach this level size, you're going to take 1 gram. you want to reach this level size, you're going to need 4 grams. You want to reach this level size, you're going to have to take this much. And I'm just sitting here thinking out loud, like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, this is someone who clearly hasn't coached anyone, because if he has, he would know what he's saying is actually garbage.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Like, I've seen some of my most genetically elite guys are not on anywhere near what the internet says they're on. Like, I've went to bat on Joe for a few times. Like, people posted like his transformations, like, you know, his rebound phase is always epic. And I'll see people that go post it trying to get attention on their own page using his images. And they're like, this guy is using this, this, and this. And I'm like, hey, I'm just the coach here. And I'm going to tell you all that's complete bullshit.
Yeah. Speaking of, what's the situation with Joe's rebound phases? Why are they so nuts?
Joe actually responded probably better than I did. Like, I learned for myself, like, even when I was a natural teenager, that like right after my show, if I just got back into the gym and I grinded hard, that's when I was making my progress. Like, once I've added a little too much body fat, insulin sensitivity goes to shit. I started getting tired, lethargy kicks in. Then I notice my training performance goes down and my progress comes to a halt. So I learned that I didn't know back in 2007. I didn't really know what a rebound was. I didn't know about insulin. I didn't know about anything at all. I just knew that something was happening. Like, there's something about dieting down for a show and exploding afterwards. So I kind of kept doing that after every show that I did. And then in 2010, that was when I did my first show Enhanced. And I won the Mr. Kentucky, or Kentucky Muscle, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I won that show. And afterwards, I didn't have the money to actually continue on with Shelby at that time. And I decided I was going to do my own thing. I was like, I'm going to simply keep these 3 compounds in, and I'm just going to start increasing my calories. I'm going to tamper around, play with things myself. And I just kept getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And I was still staying lean. I was hungry the entire time. It was honestly harder than the contest prep. The hunger was worse after the show than it was leading into the show.
So by hungry the entire time, like, you basically tried to make sure that you were still on a pretty can't think of anything today, man. Fuck.
I wasn't in a deficit.
You weren't in a deficit, of course, but you were really trying hard not to just put on the fat super quick.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was trying to put on. I knew I was gaining water weight, like that. That was a fact. I knew there was some water coming on, but I felt like I was gaining good quality muscle. So I did my own thing for a month or so, maybe 2 months, and then I hired Factory, and then we went on to do junior nationals, and I think I weighed in at 194. In 2010, and I weighed in at 215 in 2011. So essentially that was 21 pounds in 9 months.
Shit.
That was the first time that I learned how to do a proper rebound. And Factory taught me, I'm not dissing Shelby on this, but like, Factory understood my body, that like, this guy needs carbs. Like, he doesn't, like Justin responds well to carbs.
Yeah.
So like, we did really well with that, and we showed up about 20 pounds heavier. So I went from a light heavy to a heavy, and I kind of shocked a lot of people with that. And I started, like, I never really understood how that worked until probably a few years later. But back to the thing with Joe is a hyper responder, clearly. Anyone that can gain that much muscle in that amount of time. But he's also very dedicated to the process too. Like, if there's been a couple of times, like in his rebound, that I'll pull back on the food. Like, and he's like, oh shit, man, I was hoping you were going to give me more. I'm like, sorry, bro, you're literally putting on so much weight. Like, this is not good. Like, we got to scale this back a little bit. So like, his body just sucks everything up. And Joe's also a guy who can diet on rather lower food and not lose muscle. So like, his ability to put on muscle, maintain muscle, and lose body fat, and he can gain body fat really easily as well. But like, his ability to change is easier than I would say most people's.
Okay. Very interesting. That's cool, man. You've been seeing Joe's physique when he was natural is just mind blowing.
Yeah. No one actually believed that he was natural at that time. It was like, you can't go from, I'm taking 2 or 3 compounds to just upping the dose and all of a sudden morphing into what he is today. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. The morph was crazy. I think, I mean, some of the pictures that he posts that aren't as, like, you know, twisted and crazy lighting, I mean, I could see how it could be natural, but it's still crazy. It's still crazy and very exceptional. And I think I really love how he did things, how he really focused on building that natural base for so long, built something pretty crazy. And
Well,
then,
I think it kind of came natural per se, like not no pun intended by saying that word,
yeah,
because I don't think he ever intended. Like if you could rewind and talk to him like 4 years ago, I don't think he ever intended on being in the position where he's at. Like bodybuilding was just a thing, you know, it was fun, and now look where he's at.
crazy. So
I don't
crazy.
think he ever sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to be an Olympian here in like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because when he did when he was an amateur and he won the Mr. California, like that was the hardest I've ever had to push him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I about broke him on that show, to be fair.
Wait,
Like
why?
he was mentally broken. I mean, he had a full-time day job as well. Like he wasn't like a stay-at-home bodybuilder. He wasn't a personal trainer. He wasn't a coach. He had a job he physically had to show up at. So, and that's hard. You know, when you're tired and you're lethargic already from being 5 to 6% body fat, and then his food was lower, but like that also was a learning curve for the both of us because every show we've done,
Mm-hmm.
I've got notes on all my long-term clients. Someone that worked with me for 3 months, no, I'm not going to keep those notes. But like if I know you're seriously invested, like I have notes on that, and I've made note of like this worked, this did not work. We need to avoid that moving forward. So I kind of learned his body over different shows, and every show we've improved drastically.
That's so dope. I do have to agree with you though. Most of my shows that I've competed in were all during college, like while I was studying for engineering, or also while I was working afterwards. And those were the hardest and probably one of the most, they were just some of the most difficult, both physically and mentally, like experiences of my life easily.
When
like
you
prep
need your
is a
brain to
breeze
work,
now. Prep's literally
Yeah.
a breeze now.
Yeah, when you need your brain to work and you're in school, like it's not fun. Like to be fair about this, I don't know if I've ever even told anyone this because I'm not proud of it, but nowadays I just don't care. But like my senior year of college, whenever I was competing in that competition, I had to take an incomplete in my senior project. So I don't know if your college, I mean, you know what I mean when I say an incomplete?
I don't think so.
So they gave us the option to take an incomplete. Like it had to be approved by your professor. So essentially I went to him and I kind of bullshitted my way and told him I had all this stress and things going on in my life. I can't sleep and whatnot, which I couldn't sleep, but he just didn't know exactly what it was from. And I told him, I was like, I'm a little bit behind. I was like, I probably just need a few extra weeks. So they give you an incomplete, which means the course like on that semester is not like you didn't fail it, but you have until the following semester to basically present your senior project and complete the course. And you're not paying an extra tuition for the following year.
Wow.
So it doesn't go on your transcript that you failed or flunked a class. Like they just basically extend it for you. And I got myself to the point in that prep where it was like I had 4 other like high level engineering courses to get through. And then I had a job as well on top of that. And I'm getting ready for a show. And I just couldn't do the senior project. I was like, I'm going to fail this class. So I just had a one-on-one talk with the professor, and I was real with him. And I told him I'm overloaded. I can't do this. And he gave me the option to take the incomplete. But I do wholeheartedly believe if I was not doing that bodybuilding show, I would have not had to take the incomplete.
Gotcha.
So I ended up, it took me maybe like 3 weeks after the semester was over. I had my project done, and I had to wait a period of time because you can't just present it when you want. Like they have scheduled time. So like, yeah, I went in, presented to the board, and I passed, and then I got my degree.
Wow. That's awesome. That's fire.
Yeah. Maybe other schools don't offer that. A lot of schools, especially the greedy schools, would probably say, no, you failed. Now you have to pay again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Purdue would no offense to Purdue, but you guys fucking kind of sucked, low-key. The shit was tough, dude. I at least get to say that I did the hardest class in the country at one point. It was thermodynamics 2 at Purdue University for mechanical engineering. And it was like, if you looked it up, like hardest class in the country on Google at the time, it would like come up as number 1. So
Yeah, I never took that.
I can't say that.
That was master's, right?
I did not get an A, huh?
That was for your master's degree, right?
No, that was for undergraduate degree. I didn't even start the master's. It was a week before the master's started, and I dropped it. I dropped off. I'm like, I'm just gonna be an Instagrammer.
That actually
Parents were
wasn't
so
offered
happy.
at my school, to the best of my knowledge.
What
Like
was
that
it?
course, thermodynamics.
Oh, really?
The hardest course I actually had to take, believe it or not, was physics.
Huh.
And it was because, like, up until that point in my life, I was the guy who could just go to class and I could listen to what the professor was saying and
Yeah.
I caught it. Like, I didn't need to do anything else. Like, I didn't have to study outside of school. But physics, I couldn't pass it without studying. And I thought I could. I thought I was just going to be the guy who shows up and that was enough. And then I failing the class. But then I retook the class the following semester with the same exact professor, which was kind of embarrassing when I walked in. But like, I made it a point. Like, I'm not going to just pass this class. I'm going to get an A in this class. And I did. And it's not, and he changes things. It's not like I had all the answers from the previous semester, but like I had to actually understand it. And like for me, when I understood physics, I understood engineering. Like those two kind of go hand in hand. If you don't understand physics, you are not going to be an engineer.
Yeah.
So once I consider physics applied math. It's not just like, here's this formula on a board. It's like, now we're going to take this formula on a board and we're going to apply it to something in the real world of how you're actually going to use it. Mm-hmm. So it not only did it become a class I hated, it went on to become a class I actually enjoyed. Like once I realized like this stuff is actually going to be important to my career and I'm actually good at it. I just had to try a little harder. It's like that's like that bodybuilder who can't get in shape without 2 hours of cardio. I was that guy that couldn't pass the class without 3 hours of studying every single day for it. But I enjoyed the process of it. So I passed it with ease the second time.
I was pretty similar. I've had ADHD throughout my entire life. And now I don't have to take Adderall or anything. And I can still, obviously today I can't, but I can normally focus. But yeah, there's a lot of Adderall in college. I'm going to be real with you, but I promise it was prescribed. As in regards to the engineering thing, I think that's one thing I do really appreciate about my degree, even though like I obviously am not using it whatsoever. But in terms of applying it, there's so many things in bodybuilding that I feel like understanding the concepts of engineering have translated over to really feeling like I can fully grasp concepts in bodybuilding and also make theories up about it that hopefully don't sound so ridiculous. And I've noticed a lot of engineers kind of just end up becoming bodybuilders or vice versa in a certain kind of way.
I've met a few, yeah.
Yeah. I've like most of my closest friends in Purdue were all bodybuilding engineers, like straight up. They're my homies in the gym and they were also my homies that helped me out in class as well. So it was always the funnest thing. And they're the biggest dudes. The engineers in my school were the biggest dudes in the fucking school. And Purdue University had over 40,000 kids. So I don't know. It was cool.
That's a lot. Where exactly is Purdue at?
It's in bumfuck nowhere in Indiana.
Indiana, okay.
Yeah.
Because I used to see the Purdue shirts, I used to see the shirts all the time when I was in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And I never actually knew where that college was.
Yeah. It's not too far from Kentucky. It's my fraternity did have the sickest barn dances though. That shit was fire. Get to like a barn in the middle of nowhere.
We had some. I actually never participated really in the fraternity parties. Like I never was in a fraternity.
That's probably a good thing. That's a great thing actually.
I was friends with all the guys that was like frat boys, so I got invited to the parties. I literally got in and I wasn't a member and I just got to hang out and do everything.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, for me, it was like the alcohol, when alcohol's involved, I get a little, I don't want to say edgy, but like, I'm not talking about when I drink. I'm talking about when I'm around other people drinking. Like it changes the vibe for me. And sometimes it kind of puts me on my toes because people become a little bit more unpredictable with alcohol.
Bro, same, man. I think it happens to a lot of us guys, honestly.
And when you're a bodybuilder, I've had this happen to me, and I realized it happened because I had myself in the wrong situation. I went to a few bars when I was younger, and it didn't go like too sideways, but like there's always the little guy, like, you don't know me, I've done nothing to you, you've done nothing to me, but like someone wants to start something. Because you're the big guy there. And I'm like, dude, I came here to have fun. I didn't come here for any of this. Like, I just want to have fun like you do. Go over there and have your drinks with your friends, man. Like, so that was something like I would always, there was a couple of tense moments in college with that, but it did not go sideways. It didn't go south or anything. I mean, I did have a few rough moments, but there was no alcohol involved in it. That was a whole different scenario. Like, I just find when you add alcohol to the mix, there's always the guy who thinks he's tough and he wants to fight. Like when I see alcohol, I don't want to say alcohol because that's not the case. The people who drink regularly, like I either see, it's usually one extreme or the other. Either they're laughing, they're funny, they're hilarious, they're doing goofy stuff, or they're depressed and crying, or the third option, they want to fight. They want to get like violent. Yeah. I'm like, man, can y'all just chill? Like, can we just like all sit around and tell stories and laugh and have fun?
Yeah, bro. That's the thing. Pick the biggest guy. Try to pick a fight with him.
Yeah. So like I learned when I was 21, like some dude chucked a giant piece of ice. I'm assuming the bartender had to give it to it because it wasn't like the crushed ice that would come in a drink. It was like an ice ball. And it came across the bar.
Holy shit.
And it smacked me right in the corner of the eye and hit me hard enough. It turned my head. And I just looked at my friend and I was like, we're going to do this shit right now. Like, we're going to do this. And of course, when I look that way, everybody's just like, you know, like nobody saw anything. And I confronted them too. I was like, okay, like, who's going to step up to the plate? I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm like,
oh my God.
And I realized, I'm like, okay, there's about 8 of them. There's one of you. You really don't want to do this. This is not going to end well. So I just swallowed that. But I'm like, you know, why do that? It's like, I mean, I get it. Me and this other guy, we were the two big guys that was in a non-crowded bar. So I don't know if they just thought we were stuck up. We were arrogant. Like, I don't know. We were way overdressed compared to everyone else there as well. It was our first time being there. It was right after a bodybuilding show. It was downtown Louisville on 4th Street.
Oh shit! No way.
4th Street. If you know that area, you know where 4th Street is.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's where it was. And at that point, I realized I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this scene no more. Like, this is not for me.
Smart move, bro. Smart. I gained 40 pounds freshman year of college, which was half because of a girl that I started to date, and then the other half because of dieting quick cookies, and then well, actually no, thirds, and then the third because of fraternity drinks and alcohol. So yeah, I've been off of alcohol, mostly off for like the last 7 years, aside from like a shot, you know, like a shot on my birthday like last year or whatever. So yeah, it's been life changing to say the least, because the mental space and the emotional reactivity that I get when alcohol is introduced, creates very bad relationships for me. Real quick, guys. So while I was looking at the YouTube analytics, I actually saw that 85% of you guys that watch this channel are not subscribed. And I want to ask very little of you guys, but if you enjoy this podcast, if you find value in it, then please do me this one favor and subscribe to the channel, because doing so helps me get bigger and greater guests like the guests you are listening to today. Also, this channel is not sponsored, which means only the companies that I work with, which are Young LA and Huge Supplements, are the companies that can help fund this channel by you guys using the code NILE. So code NILE gives you a discount of 15% off of Young LA, and code NILE also gives you a discount of 10% off of Huge Supplements. And if you decide to purchase anything from any of these companies, it will help immensely for me by using my code. And this way, I can travel to other guests and also upgrade an equipment to make this podcast bigger and better for you guys. I wanted to ask too, because in the podcast with Muscle Factory, I recall you stating basically how you started competing, like your first cycle when you were, I don't know if it was your first cycle, but your cycles competing before you were with Factory, and then how Factory, I guess, you're just straight up real about the dosages that Factory put you on when you joined them. And you said you were skeptical, something along the lines of like a gram of test, 600 of DECA or EQ, and then 50 of an oral and GH, right?
Yeah, it really wasn't bad. Like what we did, basically we did what we needed to do to get me to the next level, but like it was nothing what I would say abnormal for a pro to do. And he obviously had my best interest at heart on that. And I really don't know how else to say that. I mean, we didn't go crazy with it, because a lot of people, when you said Muscle Factory, right? Is that Armand's podcast?
No, sorry, my bad. I I said that on accident. I meant I mixed up Factory that you were working with it was actually Muscle and Strength.
Oh, okay.
Muscle and Strength.
Yeah, so like it wasn't like anything crazy. I mean, it was like one step higher. And at the time I was like, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's turned people pro, and we never had any problems. Like, it went smooth. And then ironically enough, where people think that more is better or you have to continue doing more, I worked with him for a total of 2011. I worked with someone else briefly in 2011 as well, later that year. And then we got back together in 2012. And then we went through 2013, all the way to like the end of 13, the beginning of 14. We never changed. Like, we never upped the dosages, but I continued to get better.
I have to say that's
So
that's the thing kind of I wanted to attack, because that's one of the most interesting things to me. Because normally you find for most of the competitors these days, they have to at least titrate it up just a little bit to make the same amount of gains as they made last year.
Yeah, we actually did not. As a matter of fact, I think, don't quote me on this because this has also been 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think we actually backed down from 2011 to 2012 prep.
Okay.
I actually think we were on less in 2012 than we was in 2011. And that was my best look ever. I mean, sorry, not my best look. It was my best look to date, but it was also my most conditioned look I ever produced.
Oh, well, I think most conditioned almost makes sense, to be honest. I had the same experience with Patrick, where he backed me down by starting us on our first cycle very low, and I was more conditioned than the year before. I think I just had less inflammation and just less overall water retention from less compound use too. So I'm sure that also helped the conditioning. Yeah. But
yeah, I don't think what I was doing before was crazy, and I don't think what he had me doing was crazy.
Yeah, especially not for an open.
And it wasn't like one of those things where, because I know a lot of coaches, they like to, when they get someone, the first thing they do is increase the dose because they want that client to see the immediate like success. The way they keep them as a client. And I didn't do that. He didn't do that. We didn't do that. Like, we just did what needed to be done to win that show. And I ended up placing second at Junior Nationals, which I didn't think was bad because it was 33 heavyweights. And that was my first national show.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then the following year, we smashed it. We got the pro card.
What were you doing before that? What were you doing before you joined Factory?
What do you mean, gear-wise?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think on this. I think because there was a period where I left Shelby and then I went over with Factory. There was about a 2-month period there. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, I think my test was actually higher during that particular period, because I think I had taken it from like 700 to a gram. That was my first experience with that. And I think I had NPP in, and I think I had Turinabol in, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Turinabol or Anavar. I just know I can't tolerate Anadrol very well, so like I didn't do that.
Oh, damn.
And then when we started, he got rid of the NPP, and I think it was either DECA or EQ. I don't remember which one. Dosage was insane, and he actually took the test back to 750. Then we had a phase where we came out, or we didn't come off, but like we brought things down, had a little bit of a health phase, cleaned out, we started prep. And then it went back to 1,000. That was my first time ever prepping on 1,000.
Okay.
Like when I did 1,000, like myself, I thought I was like, oh shit, this is a lot. I don't know if I need to be doing this. Like, yeah. And then like once he had me do it, I was like, okay, this guy has been around everyone. He knows, he knows his shit. So I trusted and I did. And I still think the world of the guy. So like, even though we're not working together, I mean, we actually stopped in I think it was early 2014. Mm-hmm. The only reason we really stopped was more of kind of a money issue for myself, but also the company I was with, they kind of did him dirty, to be fair.
Oh, damn.
The company that I was with was supposed to be paying him for mine and Aaron Clark's coaching, and they never paid him.
Really? That's crazy.
They also never paid anybody for that matter, including their athletes. So there's that.
Oh, that's fucked.
So there was a lot of complications with that. But like, I'm the type of guy, like, I refuse. Like, the one thing you'll find about me is like, no matter how low my life gets, and hopefully it never gets low. But if I ever have a low point, there will never be a GoFundMe set up. Like, I don't take handouts. Like, if you buy me a gift, I feel obligated to buy you a gift in return. Like, that's just how I work. So like, Fag actually wanted to finish that prep. And I said, I know what your rates are. And you're up to like 4 a.m. every morning, just getting everyone's shit done. And you get up at 8 a.m. to start the job. I was like, I'm not going to take a free service, especially knowing the stuff that you have to do. Like, he probably is at that time. I don't know what his life looks like now, but at that time, I think he had 1 or maybe 2 businesses, like storefront businesses that he was running. And he was coaching like 150 people at the same time. So it was like, I kind of felt like a freeloader.
Okay.
You know, like if I would have taken that, and I've never been one to take a handout on anything. The only handout I'll ever take is if I ever hit the lottery, I'll gladly take that. But that's going to be it. Like, to be fair, I've had multiple opportunities I probably could have stewed in my life. And I was like, this don't seem right. I'm not doing this.
Right. Gotcha.
So like, that was kind of whenever I started doing my own thing. And to be fair, I was very nervous about it because like, you're not making much money. You know, your contract sucks that I had at that time. And I was like, I can't really justify paying him or anyone else for that matter. I mean, the house that I was living in with my ex needed a lot of work. So it was like, I didn't have the money to help contribute to that. And that was also an issue that caused a problem within the relationship. So like, money was one of the determining factors there. And again, I couldn't take a handout. And he was actually underpriced, probably say, for his services.
Okay. Got it.
You know, this was a guy who was, at the time, I would have ranked him probably, I'm going to say he was better than some of the guys who are considered top coaches. And that's just simply because I worked with one. I'm going to leave that part out on this. But like, he was very attentive and he knew. And the other guys was getting $500 and $600 a month. And I think he was charging me $200 a month, if I'm not mistaken. So like, I was getting like an elite Olympian level coach for $200 a month. And I just simply couldn't swing that.
I see.
I mean, I could have, but it was one of those things like, I don't like living paycheck to paycheck, month to month. I don't like thinking about like, well, if my car breaks down and I need an alternator, I need a starter or something, like this is going to be a big step back. Like, I like to have that rainy day fund.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Got it. Well, when you were growing it over those years, I guess one of the things I really want to ask, what would you feel like were any variables that might have adjusted over the course of that time that helped you grow, if hypothetically the dosages basically stayed the same?
So the only thing I'm going to say, we'll talk about the dosages as well here momentarily. Yep. So from 2011 to the end of my career, my focus and my drive, like, I know a lot of listeners and stuff. I feel like a lot of the listeners on your podcast will understand this, but the average person, if they watch this, they're going to be like, it's gear. Okay. If that's the case, just skip forward a few minutes and we'll talk about that later, because you're never going to get anywhere because you're going to ignore the important parts here. But like, when I was in college, it was like, I intended on working out that day. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. You know, I didn't make it. Like, I didn't let it bother me. But like, after I knew that like bodybuilding was something that I really, really want to pursue, I made it happen. Like, there was no excuses. There was no exceptions. I physically made it happen no matter what. And then when it come to food, it was like, when I was in college or getting ready right before I won my first regional show, it was like, a bagel and protein shake sounds good. It was like, we've been on the road for 2.5 hours. We're going to stop and get McDonald's. I never packed food with me. I never did anything like that. So the nutrition was 100% on point. There was never a missed training session. And then also I became more in tune with my body when it comes to training. You know, I wasn't just going through the motions. I didn't do like what everybody else did.
Yeah.
I started trying to figure out what movements that I need to do that works for my body.
So
because like, for example, like people say bent over rows build a big back. Well, it never did for me.
Yeah.
It was not a movement that I enjoyed. I did it, but I did it because I was trying to copy everyone else because that was what I was told to do. And then I started realizing like this is a worthless exercise for me. My body type doesn't cooperate with this. I couldn't get that mind and muscle connection. So I learned that. And I also had to learn to drop my ego because I remember I was in college. I did this because I wanted to stay. I could do it.
Oh my gosh.
I curled 100-pound dumbbells. And I'm not saying, let's just face it, the form was garbage. Like I would be making, if someone would have videoed that, they would be making fun of me on the internet still. But I learned like weight doesn't mean anything. And then like towards the end of my career, my arms was like 5 to 6 inches bigger. And I think the best I was curling was like 65, maybe 70s with like good immaculate form.
That's fucking crazy.
That goes to show like, you know, I clearly did not need 100-pound dumbbells to build my arms. Yeah. And like when I was training back, you know, I kind of had like a grip it and rip it attitude when I was younger.
Same.
And I dropped all that. I was like, you got to lose your ego.
I thought the girls would find it attractive.
You have to drop it. Yeah, I know, right? It was like, I have to drop the ego. So without those two things being in place, being able to follow an exact meal plan, stay very attentive to that, stay on top of my training, it would not have mattered what I did with my gear if those two factors were not in place. It's like before I talk about the gear, I did a seminar like 2 months ago, and it was the first one I've done in a long time. And I started that seminar out, and I told people it's mostly going to be a Q&A seminar. But I was like, before we talk about that, we're going to talk about what bodybuilding actually is and the fundamentals that goes into it. And I said, one, training. Because if your training is not right, it doesn't matter what you eat. It doesn't matter what you take. You have to have the right training. You've got to have your mind in the right place when you go to the gym. And I was able to do that during those years. Two is going to be your nutrition because, I mean, technically, if you train hard and you take gear, you'll gain a little bit of muscle. But like when all three of those, along with rest and recovery, comes together and they're all on sync with each other, that's when the magic actually happens. And that's something a lot of guys, they want to skip to hearing about the gear talk. And obviously it's super important because no one would be as big as they are like at the Olympia level without it. But the thing is, you can take that same gear, and if you don't have the training and the nutrition, you're never going to get there either.
Not even
so
close,
I feel like
dude.
Yeah, it's like everything is equally as important as the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not recovering, if you're a guy who does like ecstasy 3 times a week, going out to rave parties, guess what? Your progress is going to be less than what it should be. You know, you're staying awake for 36 hours at a time. You're not recovering. You're not building muscle. So you got to have all the components together. Rest was probably the component that I couldn't get right. It's not because I didn't want to. It's just because I've suffered from insomnia since like 2007.
Yeah.
So it's been a thing. Like I'm fully aware that when I'm like 60, maybe earlier, I'll probably end up with like low grade dementia. Like it's going to happen for me. I understand.
Have you supplemented with choline supplements such as like CDB choline or alpha GPC? Say it like
not specifically, but not specifically those. I've used almost every over-the-counter sleep medication possible, and it doesn't work. Blackstone actually makes a really good one. Like for some reason, it's the only one that works, but it says like you're not supposed to use it every night.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, I need something that sleeps every night.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But Blackstone makes one that's actually quite powerful and quite impressive. So kudos to them for putting that out. That's for the real insomniacs.
Yeah.
But like I got prescription meds, to handle myself. And it's
I got a
not low dose on those either.
I got a suggestion because you and I have a lot in common, honestly. I've had insomnia for a long time. My dad kind of has a little bit of it, so I got it from him really. But I supplement with alpha GPC and CDB choline in the mornings and throughout the day. Separate the dosages maybe by like 3 times a day of each, but getting to like a total dose of 1 gram of alpha GPC and 2 grams of CDB choline. And hopefully in the long term, this will support your cholinergic system. So you don't
send me the links to it after the show, and I'll take a look at it.
This is just to help you reduce your risk of dementia in the future.
Yeah,
and also
that would be great.
The other side to that, the thing that has helped me is like, because I'll have friends that have like recommended like take some trazodone, take some Xanax, and I'm like, I really don't want to be dependent on that, but I have been using doxylamine succinate.
Yeah, that's like Tylenol PM, right?
It's in there. It's an antihistamine. It's in there. It's an antihistamine, right? I've been utilizing that, or some people use Benadryl, but that basically the one issue is that also increases your risk of dementia. But hopefully, if you're doing a lot of things like focusing on reducing oxidative stress, being pretty conscious of your neurochemistry, doing some and supporting your cholinergic system in the ways like, for example, that I suggested, like with alpha GPC and choline, then there's no specific studies on specific people that are taking doxylamine that are also supplementing with these, right? Like, but hypothetically, you should be able to like hopefully cancel out some of the stuff that's because if you don't get sleep, you're still gonna get dementia, But if you at least get sleep, but you use this drug that's supposedly going to just increase the risk of dementia a little bit, but at least you get sleep, then maybe the risk is about the same. And then you supplement with cholinergic system supplements. So then your risk for dementia is decreased. And then that way we can also get sleep and get fucking huge. So
yeah, shoot all that over to me. Cause like I said, I'm still, I still don't have the sleep exactly where it needs to be. But just to finish that topic though, when it gets to the gear, cause I purposely saved that to the last. So whenever, like in 2011, 2012, when I was working with Thackeray, those dosages on the anabolics was the sweet spot. And I guess he just knew that. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's 20 years of experience, right? Mm-hmm. He knew that, like, we don't need to go higher. This guy's obviously responding. And I never went higher either on things. The only thing that did change is I remember when I was with Shelby, he had me do, I want to say it was an odd number too. It was 7 IU of GH. Okay. And I'd never taken GH.
Yes, the GH stories. I wanted to hear this.
I remember one of my college friends that he had used it before for a show. And I remember he actually had great results from it.
Okay.
But he never really, he's a little bit more like when he would go into prep, it was like hiding mode. Like you text him, you hear back like 3 days later. So he never really talked to me about side effects or anything, but after a show, he would always come around and like we would hang out, we would do things. It was like he would just snap out of it and he would come back into reality. So I told him what I was doing and he goes, holy shit, dude. He's like, because I'll keep in mind I was in college. Uh-huh. He's like, how can you write a paper? How can you write anything? I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand. And he goes, does your hands not hurt all the time? I was like, no, dude, I don't have any hand pain at all. I was like, I'm good. And I didn't realize this, but there was a supplier back in the day. It was called Elitropins, E-L-I Tropin, and they were green top. So I just assumed that they had great reviews on the forum boards. So like, okay, it's GH. I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to feel these side effects, so maybe they didn't hit me. So right after the show, I decided, I was like, and this was me being a rookie, dumb and stupid. I didn't know. Well, I mean, I had no reason to suspect that this was fake. So I went up to 10. And this was like, again, I'd never taken GH until like 4 months prior. I'm at 10 units. You can see this is not normal. So I didn't have any issues. And then I switched over. I got the IP yellow top. And that may be a little bit before your time to remember that. But I got the IP yellow tops and they were legit. And the first 3 to 5 days, whenever I switched, I noticed my body weight is just like rapidly coming up. I noticed like when I would like close my fist, I'm like, I'm looking at my knuckles and I'm like, I'm holding a little bit of water right now. I'm looking at my feet and I'm like, I'm holding water here. By like day 10, I was so swollen and not in a good way. Like my blood pressure was up. Like I feel like I was like stiff as a board. Like I couldn't walk right. Yeah. Like the side effects was intense. And I remember going back to my friend and I was like, hey, did you use those yellow tops? And he goes, yeah. I was like, I know what you're talking about now because I literally can't even close my hand. Damn. Like the carpal tunnel was like hurting up into like my forearms. Uh-huh. Like, I remember I was going to go up to like a pull-up bar just to stretch on it. And I had pain that was shooting like down my forearm into my elbow. And I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? And he told me, he was like, dude, that's the GH. And I'm like, okay. So at first I was like, let me try cutting in half. I went to 5. Still terrible.
Damn.
Awful. So I was like, I'll go to 4. Still awful. 3. Still awful.
What? It's crazy.
So finally I just cut it. And then around that time I got with Factor. And he put me on 4. And I was like, okay, what? I deep down, I was kind of thinking I needed more than that. He knew better than I did. So I used 4. And not going to lie, the first few weeks, it took my body some time to adjust. But then it just kind of leveled out. Like, so we kept it at 4 for, I want to say 2 years. We didn't have to increase it.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I kind of started doing my own thing, it was 6, and then it was 8. And then around that time, I discovered farm grade. It's not that I discovered it, it was I had access to it.
Uh-huh.
So depending on what I was using, I would either use, if it was generics, I would take 10, so I would take the whole bottle. Or if I was using the genotropins, either came in a 16 IU or a 36 IU pen. So if it was a 16 IU pen, I would take 8 today and then 8 tomorrow. That way I'm not like getting some weird dosages, weird numbers. I'm literally taking half today, half tomorrow. If I had Serostems, which was 18 IU bottles, I would take 9 today, 9 tomorrow. And that's how I would actually break these up. So it was either 8, 9, or 10, just depending on what brand I had. And I didn't really see a difference between 8 to 10. Like, I didn't notice that I was getting worse or I was like progressing at a different rate. Like, I think that 8 to 10 is a sweet spot. I do see guys, go to 12 to 15, and I wouldn't say that that's abnormal in today's time. I never had to do that, but insulin also became, I don't want to say a staple, but it became something that I was using as well. And I actually did 5 on, 5 off with that. So it was like, but it wasn't like year round. Like if I wasn't on cycle, I wasn't taking insulin. Like, so during the time I was on, I would use it for 5 weeks and I would be off for 5 weeks. And then I oftentimes would use it on the back end of the cycle for another 5 weeks. And that dosage never really changed either, like as far as the numbers. And people always think that, oh, it's 100 IU. Like, I don't know how people take 100 IU. I really don't. Unless you have really shitty pancreas. Like if your body just does not process carbohydrates well, I could understand that. But like in my case, like I remember one time I did my blood work in prep and my glucose came back. I got a call about this from the lab because it came back as critical. You know how there's like high and there's normal and then there's the low. There's also a marker called critical. So the first time I saw that on a lab and I freaked out because my glucose was like 41. So, and I was on GH at the time too. It was Serostems. Had a guy's name written on the box. So like I wasn't taking counterfeit GH. Granted, I was in contest prep, so there's that. But like I never really suffered from high glucose. So I feel like when I did use insulin in the off season, 10 pre-workout, 10 post-workout. I tried that method, and I did tamper with this. I did try this one time. I wanted to test my threshold. This was 2013, I think.
Okay.
There was a brief period that I wasn't working with Factory in 2013. Again, financial issues. I'm pretty confident it was 2013. Maybe it was 2014. But I was like, I want to see, is more better? Am I going to see better results? So I was like, I'd take 10. Next day I took 11. Next day I took 12. I took 13. And I wasn't seeing any negative issues until I got to around 15 at one time. This is Humalog, by the way.
Okay.
Fast acting.
Yeah.
When I was at 15, I started noticing like during my training, I'm like, like I'm sweating profusively, but I don't feel bad. I don't have any blurred vision. I'm not like maybe a little bit of shakes. Not that was a wake up call, but I didn't actually adhere to that wake up call. So I was like, okay, let's try 16, kind of same thing. I got to 18. When I took 18 at one time pre-workout, I matched the carbs, but I don't think my stomach was able to process and digest the amount of carbs that I was taking fast enough to cover that insulin, how quickly it was hitting me. And I remember I tried to train legs that day and I got 2 exercises deep. And I looked around. I'm like, shit, man, I don't feel good. I felt like, so I said, okay, you know what? This is the first workout. Like, I'm not killing this workout because I'm a pussy. I'm killing this workout for medicinal reasons. Like, I'm going to go drink the rest of my carbs and I'm going to go lay down. And that's what I did. I had to pull the plug on it. So I kind of did that little bit of an experiment. And I realized 18 is my threshold. I never had to use anything like Lantus or Humulin R or any of those stuff. I mean, I tried Humulin R, but I didn't need it because my glucose was actually rather stable throughout the day. I used it around the workout to try to use it for anabolic purposes rather than, keeping my A1C or my glucose in the right range.
Gotcha. That's cool. You're just making me think about like the protocols I've had with Patrick. So we haven't, our experimentation with insulin is very, very slim, but it was 2 IUs pre and 2 IUs post for just leg day. But I really like that we implemented insulin and IGF-1 specifically for the muscle group that I needed to improve.
I need to talk about that too in a minute.
Yeah. But that's all it was. Basically, my legs, a lot of people applaud me for my legs blowing up. I guess they blew up a lot more than I thought they did, according to others, which is really nice. And really all it was like changing up the training to make sure that I prioritized proper volume and then obviously kept the intensity high, doing it twice a week and then doing high carb days on those days with IGF-1 and sometimes 2 IUs of insulin pre and post. So, I mean, even though they're small dosages, I think there's something to be said about combining carb cycling with periodic uses of those drugs.
When you said IGF-1, and I'm just going to assume because I feel like Patrick would be an advocate of this, it was probably Increlex, right?
So, if I'm going to be honest with you, Patrick would have wanted me to do Increlex, but he didn't. It wasn't in his plan for me to do IGF-1. I told him that Transcend offered me for free IGF-1 LR3 from the HRT clinic since I work with them. So I told him since I do have it for free, I want to try it. And so he was like, okay, well, we'll just use this. We'll do this 50 micrograms just prior to your leg day. And so I did. I used it. And now it's hard for me to like, the part that sucks is that I can't tell you guys which variable is what blew my legs up the most, because I started the training and then I did the IGF-1 all at the same time. So was it the IGF-1 or was it the training? I don't fucking know. It was probably both. How much was it LR3? We don't know, because lots of people like to say that LR3 is bunk, but the legs blew up. So something did,
I tried it back in 2010 on my own before I had ever even hired a coach officially. I personally didn't see anything positive from it. That's just my experience. Maybe I had a bad source, possible.
Okay.
But, moving forward, I never really had any coach recommend it to me. Like, it was not in the protocol, it's not in the plan. And it was kind of a hush-hush thing until I heard about Increlex. And Increlex, I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's very expensive. And to be able to find it and get a legitimate source for it, back in 2016, I was on like a wait list. Like, I had like a 6-month wait. Like, I paid a guy who I still trust dearly to this day. I knew he wasn't going to screw me, but I paid him. It was very pricey. And then when I got it, I don't want to say that it like, I don't want to attribute my progress directly to this, because there's multiple factors that I want to point out here. In 2015, I had an absolutely amazing offseason. By far, like, it would almost be unbelievable to think that an advanced competitor could still make that much progress, like leaps and bounds. But I was so driven, so focused. My training was absolutely dialed in for my body, and I made great progress that year. And that was the year that I was always kind of stubborn and did my own thing because I had saw so much success from it. And I did Matt's training that year, Jansen.
Okay.
Now, granted, we had some, I don't want to say arguments, but like I kind of pushed back on him a little bit because he wanted my volume lower. And I was like, man, I'm used to doing like 50 sets of workout. Like I'm not going to be doing 6 sets. Like this is not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Like mentally, I can't do this. So like we kind of came to a mutual agreement, and I stuck with the exact same routine. I tried progressive overload for the first time in my life, and it was a very productive off season. I remember I got up to 298, I think, and I had took 300 pounds before, but it was not a pretty 300 pounds. This time at 298, I was actually in pretty good shape. Like it was, if I say so myself, and I usually downplay myself because I thought I sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I never really saw my true potential.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw myself the way that everyone else saw me. But we were 298, and then right at the beginning of that prep, and this was the first time that Matt had ever prepped me, and I caught C. Diff right out of the gate. Are you familiar with C. Diff?
Mm-mm.
Look that up later. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of viewers knows what it is. It's CDIFF. And now there's a long spelling to that I can't pronounce.
Okay.
But C. diff is what it is. And it's commonly found in nursing homes. It's something that usually hits older people. And I didn't know what was going on, but we had just moved. Me and my ex had just moved from Kentucky to Florida. It was like we hadn't been there but like a week. Like our new furniture hadn't even arrived. We were sleeping on the spare bed. And she worked in a nursing home. And just so happens, like the company that she worked for in Kentucky had a branch in Jacksonville, Florida, which is where we moved to. So she didn't even miss any work. We moved and she just picked up where she started or picked up where she left off, which worked out good. But like right in the middle of the night, all of a sudden I was like, my stomach don't feel right. So I slept on the couch, and it was like diarrhea all night long. So I was like, yeah, stomach bugs. It happens. No big deal. All day the next day. Like, okay, no big deal. I get it. I've had a stomach bug. All day the following day. Like, this sucks, but I get it. That went on for like almost 2 weeks. And I counted one day, there was 24 bathroom trips in one day. 24. So
Holy
at
shit.
that point, I was
No pun
like,
intended.
okay, you gotta do something. I was like, you're gonna die, man. Like my weight was falling. So I went from like 195, 198 because it was like the first week into prep. So I think I dropped a couple of pounds. And over those 2 weeks, I went to 275. So it's a 20-pound drop. And I thought to myself, me and Matt both thought this too. I was like, once my digestion's right, and it took about 2 weeks to get my digestion right after that, maybe even longer, because it was that's a very horrible, like, I'd have to really hate you to wish you to have C. diff. Like you really shit yourself to death, essentially. And oftentimes old people that they like the ones in the nursing homes, they die from that. Like
Fuck.
It can be fatal.
I feel bad. I laughed
So,
now.
and I assume it's probably due to like an imbalance of electrolytes. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
Or maybe just the lack of nutrition, like malnourished, because your body's not absorbing anything.
I see.
I don't know what kills them, but I know like immunocompromised people and like elderly oftentimes don't make it from that.
Damn.
And she told me they have to quarantine things. Like if somebody gets diagnosed with C. diff, like you're pretty much in a room that's covered in plastic.
Wow.
Like
That is
they
crazy.
have to contain that.
That is.
Somehow I managed to get
It's that
it.
explosive,
And
huh?
Yeah. It can also be airborne.
Oh, okay. I see.
To the best of my knowledge, it can be airborne.
Wow.
So I just assumed that, like, she did tell me that they had a patient that had it. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. So I don't know how you didn't get it, but I did, but whatever.
Damn.
So that happened in the beginning of that prep. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this before I lead up to like the whole Increlex subject.
Yeah.
I had a major leg injury that prep. I snapped my pectineus doing squats. I didn't train legs from like 7 weeks out to like 2 weeks out. And I still showed up kind of balanced. So that was a blessing. Cardio was intensely painful. Just getting around was very, very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up immediately that night, I called a friend of mine, John Quint. John was a neuromuscular therapist, and I think that's what he still does for a living. And I called him. I was almost in tears. I was like, dude, my career's over. I think I snapped my quad. I didn't know what had went on. And John basically was so good. He diagnosed me over the phone and told me how to fix things. And he said it was going to be a process. And he was right. we nailed it. We got it back, and I did not need surgery or anything. John was like a miracle worker for me. But fast forward, my grandfather passed away when I was 4 weeks out. That mentally took it. That was my last living grandparent as well. That took a toll. And then the diet that Matt was trying to do with me, my body was not cooperating with it. Like I'm the type of guy that has to run on either all fats or all carbs. If you start mixing the two together, it does not, I simply can't respond to it. Like I have no idea why, but my body was going backwards. And I had to explain that to him at like 4 or 5 weeks out. I more or less said like, either we're going to change this up or I'm going to have to finish this prep on my own. Like, no offense to you. I don't want that to hurt our friendship, but like, this is not going well. And he kept telling me like, yeah, it's going well. You're right on track. And I'm like, look, man, not trying to discredit you. Like, you're one of my best friends. And he was at that time. I cropped the pictures from 2015 to current 2016. I was like, here's where I was last year at this weight and this look, and here's where I am now. And we're not on track. We're not close. So I lost a lot of muscle essentially going into that prep. I was 252 at the Arnold in 2015. The Arnold of 2016, I think I was 248 and I was softer. So I was 4 pounds lighter and I wasn't as hard. Obviously, that's not the ideal circumstance. So clearly I did lose some tissue. Fast forward to late July when I won the Sacramento, I was around 265 on stage.
Wow. Okay.
So just in a matter of like March, April, May, June, July, 5 months, I'm up like 17, 18 pounds of stage weight, and I'm harder and I'm in shape. Now that's where the Increlex comes into play. I can't sit here and say that all of that was Increlex because muscle memory is beautiful.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like,
yeah, dude.
Muscle memory is a beautiful thing. And I know I put on a lot of muscle that 2015 off season. How much muscle? I don't know because it didn't translate to the stage. There was just too many factors that, screwed me up on that. So then I added Increlex. I did my typical rebound. So 2016 was my first and only year with Increlex experience. And I do think it made a difference. I really do think it made a difference. I'm not going to say it's a miracle drug. Like, guys, if you decide, any of the listeners, if you take it, you're not going to be Ronnie Coleman if you do it. You're not going to be Phil Heath. You're not going to be any of this thing. Will you see progress and results? Assuming that your training and nutrition's right, yeah, you will. Like, it does indeed work. It is a very beneficial drug in that sense. I typically don't even recommend it to people, though, because trying to find the real stuff in today's time it's like you're trying to find a unicorn at this point. So I don't even concern myself with it. If clients ask me about it, I'm like, you can get it, we'll talk. But until you have it in your hands and you can send me a picture of the bottle, there's really no point in discussing this.
What was the protocol you did for yourself?
So I did it pre-workout.
Okay.
And they're 40 milligram bottles,
mm-hmm.
and they come pre-mixed. And I'm like, how am I, like, if you read the actual pamphlet that comes in it, because it's designed for dwarf. I don't know if that's like the proper term to say or not. Like,
I think it is
politically correct, like little people, but that's what it's designed for. And obviously it doesn't work. It doesn't cure dwarfism, but that's what they do it for. And if you look at how many milligrams you're supposed to take for your body weight, Lord, I think I was supposed to take like 3 or 4 milligrams a day or something like that. I don't remember, but it was astronomical. I'm like, well, we're not doing that. And I read the side effects of it, like from the actual pamphlet. I'm like, I need to be careful with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's also like cranial swelling and stuff. I'm like, well, I really don't want my brain,
oh my God.
my forehead to swell. So I played it on the safe side. Started with 50 micrograms. I had to dilute that with bacteriostatic water because 50 micrograms is like barely even visible on an insulin syringe.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever had to downsize to a 1/3 cc pen in order to get it right. And I diluted it with water. And I also pinned it pre-workout bilaterally into the muscle I was about to train. And I will say that pump was ridiculous. Like, it was next level.
Yeah.
Pump. And it was pretty instant too. So that was my protocol on that. And I actually took it like all the way to like a couple of days out. And the only reason I didn't take it the day of is simply because I couldn't travel with it, or I didn't want to travel with it.
Gotcha.
Because I was trying to make sure it stayed cold in the fridge.
But you would have loved to try to see if that would like help your stage prompt, though, I'm assuming.
It possibly could have. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But like I took it all the way through the entire prep. I never had any issues with it.
What was the dose you said bilaterally?
I started at 50 and I worked my way up to 100, but it kind of started because right after contests, right? Most contests, I like to go into 2-a-day training. I enjoy training twice a day. So what I would do is I would eliminate my cardio that I was doing, like for the contest prep, and I would replace that with a second training session.
Gotcha.
I thought I was going to get more results off that, and I did get more results off that. So it was like 50 in the morning, and then it would be 50 late afternoon. So technically it was 100 a day. And then when I was training once a day, it was just 50. And then I got to where I tried it. Like when I was in prep, I went down to training once a day because I don't think I can train twice a day in prep. I probably could have. I just didn't want to throw too many unknown variables at myself.
Yeah.
So I did keep it at 100 micrograms during the prep. And again, it worked very, very well.
Wow. I do have to say that even though I didn't feel it throughout the entire time, when I did first start IGF-1 LR3 and I did it bilaterally, and this is obviously pharma grade because it's coming from HRT clinic, I felt some nutty pumps at first. You could definitely tell a difference, a clear difference. Now, it probably wasn't even close to Increlex level, but...
You may have actually... Well, you were with a legit company, though. Like, when I got mine in 2010, it was like a research site.
Okay.
So when I tried it, I was like, okay, I got nothing from this. But, like, I just felt like I was... Like, you know, like when you train, you get a good pump, you leave the gym, and you may have that pump for 30 minutes to an hour, and you feel full, and then it's kind of gone. But with the Increlex, I feel like I was walking around for hours pumped up.
Dude, one thing I do have to say, and I'm not trying to say this to like promote Transcend, you know, or anything, because, you know, there's a lot of other HRT companies too. So if you don't want to use Transcend, you don't have to. But like, I have noticed a massive difference in pharma grade everything that I've used versus UGL stuff. And I hate to say it because a lot of people will support like, you know, like UGL GH, like it's about the same, blah, blah, blah. You know, you get the same, whatever. But from my experience, when I tried pharma grade Anavar and pharma grade GH, pharma grade IGF-1 pharma grade Retta TrueTide versus all the UGL versions, they were always substantially more potent, like substantially per dose. Like I would use less of the dose. I would feel more side effects. The Anavar was so strong. I was getting like, my heart rate was going wild. The Anavar was so strong. Like, and it's just...
no, I believe you 100%.
It's crazy to me, man, because I'm like, I didn't think it would be that big of a difference, but it really was consistently across the board with pharma grade things that I was getting from Transcend versus whatever. So the fact though is that it's way more expensive, right? So
the only thing that I would disagree with you on that I didn't notice the difference is like when it comes to the GH, I would back in, of course, a lot of guys, it's if anyone's young listening to this, they're gonna have no clue what I'm talking about. But the older guys watching, they're gonna know. But if you remember Riptropins,
I heard of them.
Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember it, but I've heard of them.
The old Rips were underground, and they were that was the thing. That's what you wanted back during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the pharmaceutical GH sales dropped because of that.
Damn.
Like, well, at least the street sales, that is.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice a difference between the yellow tops and the Riptropins, and then I think they went over to gray tops. I couldn't tell the difference in that. The only thing I could tell was I held less water on Serostim. So I would always prefer the Serostims for prep. But back to the other stuff. The last prep I think I did, or the last year that I was competing, I don't remember which show it was for. And I knew this was going to be around for just a very limited time. Same guy that was able to get me the vast majority of my stuff, he hits me up and, he tells me what he's got. And he's like, you're not going to believe this. He goes, this is legit. And I had to look it up. I had to look the NDC numbers up to make sure because I didn't believe it. He had script Anadrol, script Anavar, and script Halotestin. I didn't know script Halotestin existed.
I didn't either.
But it did. It did. It was made by Upster Smith. And holy shit, was it ever real. It was very real. But before I even get to the Halo topic, the Anadrol, like I said, I've never been a fan of Anadrol, but when I took this Anadrol, I started at 50, and I remember him telling me, like, 50 is all you need. And generally speaking, you hear of guys using 75 to 100. You hear some people using 150. We remember Nasser supposedly did like 300 to 400 milligrams.
Good old Nasser, bro. Yeah, what a fucking monster.
Yeah. I don't know. And you know, back then, everything they were getting was real because everything was farm grade back then. There really was no underground labs in the 90s. Like, they didn't have to. Like, you could just talk before 9/11, to the best of my knowledge, you could just hop on a plane, go to a country, and just buy it and bring it home. Like, they didn't really give a shit. Like, it wasn't a big deal. So he gives me the farm grade Anadrol. Of course, first day, you don't notice it. By probably day 3, I noticed I'm tired, lethargic. I was struggling to eat like 150 grams of carbs a day. Food just made me want to puke. Like, I did not want to eat any food at all. Blood pressure, I was getting headaches, and I didn't really know why I was getting headaches until I checked out my blood pressure. I'm like 170, and I'm like, okay, like, we have to stop this shit now. Like, this is very counterproductive. Like, I don't want to take blood pressure meds just to keep using this Anadrol. But there is a massive difference between underground Anadrol and getting pharmaceutical American-made Anadrol. Like, it's not even remotely the same. And the same with the Halo. Whenever I would run now I was fortunate enough with Halo, I know it's a commonly counterfeited drug. So I was very skeptical of running that. Back in my early days of competing, I would get Stenox. And again, this is the older guys will know they were 2.5 milligram tablets. They were from the pharmacy in Mexico, or from a pharmacy in Mexico, sorry. And they were legit. If you took Halo and it was legit, you knew it was legit. And I had experience with the Stenox. So you were paying, I think they were like $1.25 for 2.5 milligram tablets back then. So think about it. In order to get 20 to 30 milligrams, it's kind of expensive to use. It was not something that I just want to use for the hell of it. So I knew what the real stuff felt like. And then when I got a hold of the Upshur Smith Halo, I was like, yeah, you know, the pharmacy checks out, the NDC number checks out, like, everything looks good. I was like, but I'm still a little sketch on it. But day 1, I knew it was legit. I went into the gym and I felt like I could throw a 200-pound dumbbell through it.
Holy shit.
Like, it was intense. I was like, okay, I know I got real Halo. I was like, now that you know it's legit, you have to be mindful of this consciously.
Yeah.
That way, it's like the little things that normally I didn't notice would make me very irritable.
Uh-huh.
And I had to be mindful to be like, you know, like, if I came home and, like, you know, if my ex had dishes in the sink, I'd just be like, you know, I'm like, no, Justin, you never cared about this before. I was like, you need to chill out. And it was a hard process because I didn't know how to. Like, for the most part, I lived by myself, and I was kind of selfish. So I didn't know how to live with someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of learning curves, especially with Halo. Halo was the one compound that probably affected me psychologically.
Okay.
I don't think Tren really did, because I know a lot of guys would talk about Tren and how it bothers them. But, like, I took Tren one off season, just one. And when I took it during that off season, I was happy as could be. Like,
wow,
nothing. I mean, obviously, when you get into contest prep, you get into a caloric deficit. That's when you get moody. I mean, when people use the word hangry, hangry is a very real thing. Yeah. Like, when I'm hungry, I'm a little bit on the grouchy side of things.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Like, if I take Tren in the off season, I'm sure I would hardly have any issues. It's only when it's just exacerbating that last 5 weeks of starvation and just irritation and just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to not move. I don't want to fucking be here. Dude.
I tried to stay away from people.
For real. I think that's the one thing that you and I might not have in common, which is crazy because that's why I love to like study the difference in biology and variance across the board with people. But like, Halo is the one compound that Tren kind of like, even at the lower dosages, would affect me a little bit. Like, even like if I'm driving and someone cuts me off, I'm like way more pissed at them for some reason. versus if I take Halo for some reason, I feel literally nothing. I feel more amped to go to the gym, but it's a positive amped. I never feel like irritated with people. I never feel more like mad. It's just like good for me. You know what I mean? Halo, I just feel fine. And that doesn't happen with most people. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. But what's up?
No, I thought somebody was at the door.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No.
But the one thing,
no,
dude, yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, like, for me, it kind of amplified my mood.
Okay.
Like, if I was happy, I could be happier.
Okay.
But if you irritated me, I didn't want to just. I almost wanted to take it to a physical level. I didn't most of the time. Most of the time, but like there was times that was like I would just want to explode. So it was like everything was an extreme with me, almost like it made me manic.
Okay. Interesting.
So like if I was sad, I was very sad. If I was happy, I was very happy. If I was angry, I was like homicidal angry.
Sick.
It just that's probably the one and only compound that actually affected me negative.
Yeah.
Well, negatively when we talk about that type of like frustration.
Right. Homicidal angry. Not a bad place to be. Eh? Yeah. So I don't know if I've even said this on the podcast before, but there's this picture that I have that I pinned in the middle of my profile, which is just so I can fuck with people, and is a picture of my glutes. I was like, I had like striated glutes this was before I started competing again. And my caption was on TRT and a pinch of Winnie, when in reality it was actually 25 mgs of Winstrol. But this Winstrol, I was able to get pharma grade Winstrol this time. And it was just this one time. I don't think I'll ever be able to ever again. And that shit, just 25 milligrams of it was so strong. I've never seen myself bulge so fast. If you feel like any of the medications that we spoke about today may benefit you, such as BPC 157, GH secretagogues such as tesamorelin, IGF-1, oxandrolone trochet, semaglutide, then you can obtain these from Transcend HRT, and the link for that will be in the bio. If you feel like you're experiencing symptoms of low testosterone, such as depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, as well as lack of sex drive, then you can get this checked out as well by getting your blood work done at Transcend, and they will provide you expert medical analysis. Transcend HRT has worked with many professional bodybuilders and pro athletes, such as Thor Bjornsson, Phil Heath, and Jeremy Buendia. And if you feel like this podcast has any relevancy to you, I do believe that this clinic will provide of great benefit to you as well. No, I was just saying, yeah, the Winstrol was so strong and made me bulge so fucking fast, man. And like the look was crisp, but like the hair was missing up here in the front. It was pretty rough. It looked like pubic hair.
You know what's kind of weird with myself on that is like I never actually had any hair issues when I competed, no matter what I took. Like my hair was always fine.
Yeah.
It was after I stopped competing, my thyroid started getting low. I don't really know why. And I mean, if I take my hat off now, I mean, I have hair, but you can see it is receding back. And I do take thyroid meds now. And once I figured out what the cause was, it stopped immediately. So I don't, it's like, I remember talking to a doctor about it and they were like, oh, well, Justin, that's just called getting older. You're going to have to get used to it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, I don't.
No,
then,
don't.
Of course, when they see you as being big, they're like, well, it's probably because of those bodybuilding supplements that you take, because they don't want to accuse me of steroids because they can't make that assumption. So they're blaming that on it. And I'm like, no, that's not either. I've been doing that for several years, like that, and they've not affected it. Like, why would it affect me now when I'm off? So mine was actually thyroid related on that, but I didn't have any issues as far as like any type of DHT drugs.
That's cool. Did you take, what was your experience with thyroid medication throughout prep?
T3 was, I liked it, but I didn't use it every prep. It was something that, like, if I felt like it was behind, there were certain preps that got it and certain preps that didn't. And the only downside to T3 that I had was it made me a little bit more, it made my sleep worse. Like maybe a little bit edgier.
Okay.
If that's a thing.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean,
it can be, yeah.
If you affect someone's sleep, that alone is going to, affect their personality and how they react to things.
Yeah.
So I noticed that, but I also know noticed that it can eat through muscle really fast if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Like start at like I don't do the 12.5. 12.5 would be more like a replacement dosage. So I would start at 25, and usually 25 was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree. Do you feel like that maybe your thyroid was dropped after the show because you would come off of thyroid medication in those times you did use it?
Well, that was a possibility that did go through my head. But like the highest dosage of thyroid I ever took of T3 was with Shelby, which was 2010. And I had my labs done rather frequently. Now, granted, in 2010, I wasn't checking thyroid. Like I was uneducated enough to actually check that.
I see.
But like I did get it checked like, 2012, 13, 14, 15, and so forth. And the numbers looked good. It was probably late 2017, early 2018 is when I actually noticed that my thyroid was low. And I didn't know it at first. I actually talked to the doctor about it. And this was so fucked up. But he was an actual endocrinologist. So he was the one who gave me my script for TRT. And I remember asking him, I was like, doc, my hair is kind of acting a little weird here. I was like, when I shower, I can actually see hair on my hands, like when I use shampoo. And he goes, well, it's probably from the testosterone. And I said, you're giving me 100 milligrams a week, which I had to later bump that up. I was like, doc, you're giving me 100 milligrams a week. I was like, I've taken over 1,000 milligrams a week. I was like, I don't think that's what's randomly causing it now. And he looks at me and he goes, I can tell by your voice. Your thyroid's fine. I'm like, oh, I'm glad we can diagnose people with their voice now.
What the fuck?
And I realized at that point, I was like, I need to part ways with you.
Yeah.
like if you just told me my thyroid's fine by listening to my voice, I was like, you're an idiot. And sure enough, I ran my own independent labs and thyroid was low.
Fuck.
The TSH wasn't terrible. Like the TSH was just barely on the high side of thing, but like the T4 and the T3, the uptake was just done.
Yeah. That's what I want to
done.
Man, I want to tell people, dude, you can find a good doctor. You just have to sift through all the fucking shitheads.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash.
There is a lot. But there's great doctors too. I found an amazing doctor, man. Dr. Maxwell Thomas in LA. Fucking awesome.
There's a lot of trash doctors that just literally don't know what they're doing. And then there's a lot of doctors that don't want to work with you because you're a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you will have to go through several to find the right one.
I don't mean to make a generalization about demographics and stuff, but Dr. Todd Lee and I did kind of say, like, my doctor, for example, who's in his 30s, it tends to be easier to find the ones that you want to find that aren't, if they're not over their 40s or 50s.
Yeah, I do think a younger doctor is the way to go.
Yeah.
The younger doctors, I think, are educated a little differently than a guy who went to med school 35 years ago. So they're a little bit more up to speed with what's happening.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit more in tune with, like, again, modern advancement in medicine, modern advancement with blood work, with just knowledge in general, versus the older guys who probably just take the bare minimum continuing education classes in order to keep their license, and they're still studying medicine from the 1970s.
Yeah.
They're still studying blood work, which what was considered normal in the 1970s. When they give you recommendations on food, it's like, oh, don't eat eggs because you're going to die of a heart attack because of the cholesterol. Like you get this kind of stuff that like they were taught that in the 70s, so they're still preaching that today.
Can't even go a morning without eggs anymore. I can't go a morning without eggs anymore. I'm so fucking addicted to them.
Oh, you can't?
No, I just fucking love them.
No, I do like my eggs. I don't do this on purpose, but I'm actually kind of not a pescatarian, but I usually eat mostly eggs and fish.
I used to be like that, actually. I used to eat mostly that and like salmon. Most of my protein was salmon. But
even when I was competing, when I competed, I had beef in. I still eat beef to this day. I just don't eat it that often.
Yeah.
And it's more or less like a preference thing. I don't prefer it. Like, kind of works out good that I enjoy fishing because I eat just about everything that comes.
That's cool, dude. That's awesome. I love that.
So, and then what I don't eat, sometimes I'll smoke it and my dogs get it.
That's sick. Fuck. I'm thinking about random tangents. Like, I fucking love lamb. I love gamey meat, but I just had a friend the other day who was like, I hate the gamey flavor. And I'm just like, bro, you fucking suck.
I don't mind it. I've actually had lamb before. It's not that bad.
No, it's gas, dude.
The only meat that I will say that I had this when I was in Alaska because I had a local that gave it to me just to try it out. I had bear, and don't ever eat a bear.
You don't.
It's
why?
I did not like bear meat at all. I thought it was terrible.
But what did it taste
I've
like?
eaten moose, elk, caribou. I've eaten alligator, regular deer, lamb. I've eaten kangaroo. There's not a whole lot of critters that I haven't actually eaten in my life. But the bear was terrible. The bear was, and I cooked it. The guy gave me like 2 steaks, and I had a hotel that had like a stove and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried cooking it 2 different ways. One way I tried cooking it well done, terrible. I cooked it medium, terrible. I mean, when I say like, it's literally like chewing leather.
Oh, okay.
Like it's so tough, and it has like a very different texture about it.
Okay.
Maybe the guy processed it wrong, because I know like when you're processing stuff like regular deer, like if you're a hunter and you kill a deer and you take it to the packing house, there's 100% chance they're going to screw it up, because their job is quantity over quality. You know, they're trying to just run the stuff through. And when they run that saw, when they cut through the bone, something to do with like the calcium in that, it changes the flavor of the meat. So like whenever I lived in Kentucky and I hunted, like we would fillet the meat off the bone. We never cut through the bone. We got rid of all that white membrane that's on the outside of the meat. Mm-hmm. And it's more like the handling process, because I can tell if a deer has been done right or if it's generic BS. So maybe the guy just didn't handle it right. Now, I couldn't tell you if it was a Kodiak, a brown bear, a black bear, a grizzly. I have no idea. The guy just told me it was bear meat, and I was like, okay, cool. And I ate it, and it was terrible. So that was my last experience with bear.
I wonder if like you boil it or something, if it'll at least make it a little better. Well,
possibly, but like kind of weird. Like I don't hunt, or not anymore. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
but I just don't think I could bring it to myself to kill a bear.
Really?
I really don't. Like to kill a shark, I don't care. I'm not fishing. That doesn't bother me one bit. But to kill a bear is like, I don't think I can do it.
Is there a reason behind that?
No. I mean, I don't know. Like it's kind of weird. Like maybe certain animals I feel like more empathy for, and others I don't.
Okay.
It's like I can shoot a deer.
That's understandable.
And it would not bother me one bit. And those people's like, no, you're killing bandy. I'm like, through bandy. I'm eating. Like, it doesn't bother me. But like a bear, I just can't do it.
That's crazy.
I can't do it.
What the hell? That's funny.
And there's a huge protest here in Florida right now. Like, I don't want to say huge, but like they had an issue with it because so there's the black bear, but there's also the Florida black bear. Apparently there are different species. Yeah. I don't know the difference, but they opened season on them. Like we haven't had a bear season in like decades in Florida, but now they have an open bear. It's not like fully open. I think there's like, I don't know if there's like a lottery to get tags or something like that, but they're allowing hunters to go kill the bear. And of all people, I'm like, normally I don't say too much about what happens on a political standpoint, but I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, leave the bear alone.
Damn.
Like, y'all want to go do something, go kill those big Burmese pythons or something like that. Go get rid of them.
Damn, man. Maybe because you were a bear at one point. You big ass motherfuckers.
Maybe I was a bear in another life. I don't know.
Oh, shit. All right, I wanted to ask you before the Q&A, but I wanted to go deep dive a little bit more into your coaching, especially with Joe, because I think it's just awesome. But you were mentioning the Rebound. So do you guys have like a preference on like health phase versus like, have you heard of the actual quote unquote like Rebound? Like,
what do you mean?
Because
I've heard of the Rebound.
Sometimes I feel like there's a different use with the word rebound. So like rebound as in like you skip the health phase, you stay on cycle and you just up the calories and like continue with upping the training like immediately post show rather than doing any health phase. Then I think that's like normally that's what some people refer to as rebound, and sometimes some people just say rebound as in like when you gain weight and gain muscle and everything post show in general.
Yeah, you're right on the gaining weight stuff. Like there's like a good rebound, there's a bad rebound. Like the rebound where people put on 20 pounds of water and they just get fat because they couldn't control themselves on their diet. That's one thing. So that's not what I'm referring to. But we don't go right into a health phase immediately afterwards. But the one thing I do is I remove all the, if this is such a thing, because I know somebody will probably have something negative to say about this, but like I get rid of all the toxic drugs that you would use in a contest prep. So there is no Tren, there is no Winstrol, there is no Halo. There's really, sometimes I'll use an oral, sometimes I won't. But like I try to keep it mild, but I do keep gear in and I start pushing up the calories. And that's usually when the magic happens.
Okay. I see.
Like I remove all the stuff. Like, in other words, like I saw Joe's labs about a month ago, give or take. And to be fair about it, you know, like when I'm looking at someone's lab sheet, I'm used to seeing like the blue L or the red H on this, you know, seeing a couple of marks here, a couple of marks there. I didn't see hardly anything.
Okay.
I think I told him to do a blood donation. I was like, you're good after that.
Okay.
Like everything came back fine, because the only other thing that I want, that I recommend everyone do, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to do it. He said he just doesn't know it's coming. I'm going to get him an echo done next year, and it's going to get done free as well.
Oh,
so just as a precautionary, you know, because he's a big guy, he's 300 pounds, and you know, he's going to be doing a show next year, and just so happens I know a guy in that area who I'm very, very good friends with, that as long as he's willing to take a little drive with me for about an hour to the hospital, we walk in after hours and we can get the echo done, and that's that. So, I mean, that's one thing you can't really order on your own is an echo. So I want him to get that done, but otherwise, I mean, looking at like from a cholesterol panel, there's nothing at all wrong. But the thing is, blood work, this is why I recommend the echo, is because I have very few clients that will actually get it done. Like I've had guys over the years tell me, oh, I feel good. I know my body. I don't need to get blood work. I'm like, when you start to feel it, it's usually too late. Mm-hmm. Like when symptoms start to present themselves, regardless of what symptom it is, and regardless of what you have failing, the moment that you feel it, the damage is already done.
Yeah.
Like the key is to be proactive and not reactive. So we want to catch things. Like some people are born with like birth defect, right? Mm-hmm. Like in their heart.
Yep.
Like you're going to want to know that. So, and you're not going to know that based off blood work. You're not going to know that based on how you feel. I know a person, they were very open about it at the time, but it's been a long time. And I don't want to mention her name, but like they were an Olympian. They were a top Olympian as well. And it was a she. And apparently she had a stroke on the way to the Olympia and didn't find out what happened. But like, of course, everyone's going to say, oh, it's due to the drugs. And I'm not saying that they help matters, but turns out she had a hole in her heart. Mm. And it was something that she'd had her whole life and she just didn't know it. Mm.
I see.
So that's why I recommend people getting the echo done. Just be cautious of it. Get an echo, get a calcium score. And if you have the ability, get an angiogram. If you can check all three of those off, I realistically think like we just lost another bodybuilder like a couple days ago. I think he was Chinese. Wang Kun. And I had to say that slowly because the internet was like just, I don't know where people's lack of respect and loss of humanity is. I mean, you say that fast, Wankin. Like, you say the name fast, I get it. But like people were literally like making jokes about this. I'm like, this dude just died. Like, think about like if you lost your brother, sister, mother, father, and you saw the internet just laughing about that person's death, you wouldn't find that to be very funny. So I don't know why people want to, you know, feel the need to go and dump negativity on top of an already negative subject. But I think if people were to get those three areas between, again, the echo, calcium score, angiogram, I think we would be able to prevent a lot of these deaths because the bodybuilders aren't dying of liver failure. They're not dying of kidney failure. They're not dying of like diabetes. 99% of the time, it's going to be cardiac related. So if you can cover all of your bases by getting that heart check from every way possible, chances are you're going to protect yourself short-term and long-term. You're going to live a lot longer life. And if you need to pull back and exit the sport, that may be your sign. Because again, we're all, I remember Nasser made a statement one time. And due to just a language barrier, he said, in order to be a good bodybuilder, you have to have a strong constitution. And what he was referring to was strong internal. Like, you have to have that, because if you're a guy who can take 500 milligrams of test and you aromatize heavily, you're holding 20 pounds of water, your blood pressure's up, it's like you're going to have a lot of problem.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't tolerate the chemicals well, or if you have pre-existing conditions, whether it be, it could be a numerous amount of things. Like I mentioned, like the whole heart thing, people having holes in their heart. Like, if you don't know that, you go into it. It's like another thing, like with Boston Lloyd. I mean, Boston was obviously very reckless. I used to actually hate Boston, and I kind of grew to like the guy before he passed away.
That's what
my feelings to him changed.
That's what Evan Centopani said too.
That he hated him, and then he turns out liking him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when Boston first hit the scene, I was like, fuck this little guy. So like, once me and him actually had like some real conversation, I was like, he's really not a bad guy. Like,
right. He's just kind of misinformed.
He's very different.
Yeah.
Or he was very different. But like, people want to blame his death on steroids. And I can tell you a story on this right now. He died of aorta dissection. And Dave Palumbo, I'm not the biggest Dave Palumbo fan anymore, but like, Dave's a smart individual. Like, he went to med school. Like, he's not stupid by any means. He's probably got one up on the vast majority of all coaches and everyone in the industry just because of that med school background. But Dave talked about it was actually aorta dissection. So his aorta split. And when that happens, it's pretty much an instant death. Like, you 5-10 seconds, you're going to pass out. You're going to die. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I had a friend of mine, to the best of my knowledge, never done steroids, never been fat, never been obese. Now, I will say this particular friend, now when I say they've had some parties, some recreational drugs, it's like 3 times a year. It's not like someone that's a coke addict or anything like that. And they started noticing a few symptoms. They went in. They had a heart murmur, or so they thought. Then they got an echo done. Turns out there was a lot of pressure on the aorta, and they had to get like a sleeve put over top of it. Mm. So I'm just saying, like, that's one of those things that was genetic. And that can happen to a bodybuilder. But if that happens to a bodybuilder, it's automatically steroids, is what people assume. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is, like, if that, and it shows up on an echo, you'll see it on an echocardiogram. So, like, if guys were to do that, this could be a very preventative way to save lives.
I couldn't agree.
But, like, you know, I worked with a guy. It's been a while now. It's actually been a long time since I worked with him. He was not a low dose guy. Much higher than what I would recommend to anyone for that matter. But his dosages were high and his GH was high. And I remember asking him to do blood work. And he said, well, where do you get it at? How do you do it? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how did you get this far? And you've never done labs? Like I was kind of like mind blown. Like, he didn't understand anything about blood work at all. So, and I considered this guy a friend. I just assumed he was taking care of himself. And I asked him about getting blood work done. So he didn't know what to do. I said, here, go to this website, order this. I was like, they'll email you the results, and then we'll go over it together. And if there's any problems, we'll handle that, address it accordingly. And he was like, dude, that's like $350. I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, is your health not worth $350? And he said no. He said, no, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay $50. And he never done labs. And I'm thinking out loud, like, his GH dosage was not low. And he was paying a high price for it. I'm like, you know what? If you just stopped taking GH for like a week, you would be able to pay for your blood work. Like, what are you doing? Like, this doesn't make sense, like the rationale that people had. And it turns out the guy actually is happy and healthy. Like, he's doing great. But, like, he didn't know that. Like, and the thing is, if the dude had dropped dead, fingers are going to get pointed at me.
Yeah.
And he didn't do any, he never checked up on anything.
Yeah.
And also, he never slacked it off, where he just rotated compounds in and out.
Damn, that's wild.
Kept everything high year round, just rotated them in and out.
Lucky, bro.
very, very lucky. He was very lucky that his body was like very accepting of what he was doing. But I feel like if I would have done that, I'd be dead right now.
Yeah, I would be too.
Like I said, the dosages were not little. I mean, they're not like the 10 gram shit that you see, like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Not like that, but they were well over double what I took.
I totally agree with you too about the hard tests. I recommend anybody, honestly, I have a cardiologist, and literally just getting a cardiologist, I think will really calm a lot of people. Like it'll really just soothe you. Because mine, for example, we just got a couple tests done, got the echo, CAC scan, or CAC score. Haven't done an angiogram yet, but from all of them, looks very great. And we just go over my blood work, look at the ApoB level, the LP little a level. Everything looks fine. He's like, bro, you're at this age, even on the stuff that you're taking, really don't see any issues. So yeah. And then he'll tell me, you know, when the time comes up, you know, I'll poke him, but like, when is it a good time to take this test if I need to, you know? But in the meantime, it's like, no, he can soothe you and be like, you're good. You don't even have to take this test right now. So I really honestly recommend anyone just get
if people would just spare an extra $500 a year, $600 a year to do that stuff, it would save a lot of lives.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Because that's what people don't understand is like one guy could be very resistant to, you know, bodybuilding compounds and the next guy may not be.
Uh-huh. Were you with Joe when Joe did the whole when he gained 20 pounds in a year and it was mostly just insulin use without the GH use?
Insulin use without the GH use.
So he said that he started using insulin when he gained 20 pounds in a year, but at one point he ran out of GH and he wasn't able to buy more GH. So for almost most of that,
I don't know if he told me. I don't know if he told me about running out of the GH.
No shit.
So I think I don't remember. Like we did use insulin, yes.
Yeah.
And I haven't really pushed insulin hard on him at all. Like it's not been. We've used it, but it's not like, well, we're going to do this every off season, the whole off season.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been like that. Like we haven't actually touched it at all since Tampa.
Okay.
Or since he competed.
I see.
So like all this new muscle that he has right now, there's been no insulin involved in that.
Gotcha. Interesting. Damn, you guys gotta have a talk then, because my boy said some shit about not using GH. It's funny.
Well, I know he does. I just didn't know he ran out. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was off of it. So
That's
if
hilarious.
he was, maybe I've forgotten about it. It must have been a year or so ago. Because when you say
It was
he
a
put
while
on 20
ago.
pounds, like Joe's put on like 10, 15 pounds like
Every year. That's what he said too.
And from 2024 to 2025, his weight was identical, but the look was drastically different. So like he still probably put on a solid 10 pounds of muscle, but the conditioning was like next level
That's
this
dope.
year. So
How did you guys get to
from
that?
what I'm seeing right now at 290, I think he's going to be between 255 and 260.
How did you guys get to that level of conditioning at the Texas Pro when he placed second? That was fucking insane. His back shot was out of this world, bro.
So this is what I had to discover. And I'm glad that Joe didn't like do what a lot of people would do. Like I will admit the 2024 Cal Pro, that was on me. Well, it was on both of us, but I'm going to take responsibility. We knew as a pro that he was going to have to be bigger. And he's also one of those guys that can have striated glutes and still have fat in other areas.
Okay.
Like you're only as lean as your fattest body part. So it's like I'm sure you see this as well. Sometimes like most guys nail it from the front. Like they'll have like feathered quads. Their abs is perfect. Their obliques is like just sharp as a razor. And they think I'm good. But when they turn around to the back, you'll see the lower back, the lower lats, the hamstrings, the glutes. It needs more. Well, Joe's kind of the opposite of that. Like his glutes and hamstrings can come in and he still has a little bit extra from the front. So I remember right after the Cal, I think he was highly overlooked. I don't think he should have won by any means, but I think he should have been inside the top 10. But that's all hearsay. It doesn't matter. If you don't, I guess Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last, right? So moving forward, I told him, I was like, let's stick this out. Let's push the off season. I said, but next prep, I was like, we're not going to look at the scale. I said, I am going to push you to a level of conditioning that you've never seen before. I said, I need you to just, I'm telling you, a year out from now, like, you're going to go through some kind of torture, if you want to call it that. Like, you're going to push to a level you've never pushed before. So he had glutes at like 4 or 5 weeks out. And I'm like, nope, not good enough. Keep going. And realistically, he had glutes at like 260. And I dropped him to like 247, 240. I think he was 247 in Tampa. And we dropped down to like 244, 245 for Texas. And that's when we really nailed the look 100%. So for him, carbing up is not really the best idea either. Like, he shows up at, like, on a scale of 1 to 100, his fullness is about 25%.
Damn.
But that's where he gets the best look with the most detail. Wow. To be grainy and just nasty hard like that. Like, if I were to fill him all the way up, I think we would have lost some of the detail and we would have placed lower because
What does the carb up process look like for him to be at 25%?
I think it was somewhere between 220, 250 grams of carbs a day.
How many days?
Like the entire peak week. Like, that's where we were at, like, on, say, Monday. And I remember, I think I saw him on Monday because he got to Tampa on like Saturday or Sunday, but I didn't come over till like Monday or Tuesday. Whatever day I got there, you know, we kind of relaxed that first day. And the next morning when we got up and I saw his posing, and I was like, okay, I like what I'm seeing right now. We need to take this and put this on stage right now.
Yeah.
So if it's that good, the way I look at it is this: I have a 5% chance of making him better and a 95% chance of screwing this up and making it worse.
You sound like, yeah.
I was like, if we're this good right now, we're going to coast on in. So there was a point where I bumped the food up and I noticed like I didn't see a positive return from that. So like I literally just kept him. I was focused on two things. One, the look. But the thing with him, the look and the scale are kind of linear with each other. Those that last week. Yeah. Like if the weight goes up, usually the look goes down. So I knew where I needed him to be at, and I literally just coasted it. So we're not going to do anything stupid. We're not going to do any drastic carb up, no burger, no fries, no nothing. We're just going to literally eat your meals. You're going to walk on stage.
That's awesome.
And essentially, that's pretty much what we did.
Bro, that's like
we had a little bit backstage, like a little bit of food that was like technically not our normal prep food backstage. And that was it, man. Like there was no special protocol, no diuretics. I didn't tell him to dehydrate for 2 days. Like I had the look I wanted, and I was like, okay, we're gonna just chill for a couple more days until we can put this on stage.
Nice. That's it's like John Jewett, man. When you the way you're talking reminds me of him, which I really love because I think it's a very logical way.
And there's one thing I did learn from Dave Palumbo back in the day. Like I never worked with Dave, but I used to read all of his forum boards back in like 2005 to like 2012 when they were on MD. And someone asked him, what should I do? Let's just talk about testosterone, for example. Someone's like, do you drop tests for a show? And he said, no. And they were like, well, everybody should drop tests for a show, you know, back when that was like a thing. Like everyone thought that you had to pull it. And it does vary. Like there is certain people that I will pull testosterone on, but the vast majority of the time, if I can get you to the look that is stage ready with test in, why would I change it? Right? Like we can walk on a stage right now and win a pro show. Why would I change that? Like, so I looked at, I've always kind of used that philosophy of like, if what we're doing is working, I'm not going to throw a curveball because I have a greater chance of screwing this up than I do of making you better.
Yeah.
And now, and if we both lose. If I screw this up, we both lose. I get all the negative feedback. You hate me and you lost your show. So let's not play with any wild cards.
Smart. Yeah. Do you mind me asking when you guys pulled out injectables in GH?
I don't think we did.
Oh.
I mean, we didn't take them like the last two, like the day of the show or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm really big when it comes like specifically for infections. Once the tan goes on, no needles, none, no shots, no pins.
Gotcha.
Like the last thing I want is I don't want you to have a lump or like it's possible. Like I've had like the same bottle before and I can say take 9 out of the 10 cc's and I'm fine. That 1 cc will put a knot. I can't risk that, like 2 days out of like someone having a bump or a knot, like a spot on them. Don't risk that. But more importantly, it's like, well, I don't want you to alcohol the area. Like you can't alcohol something because you have tan on, because now you have a big white spot and you screwed your tan up. But at the same time, I also don't want you sticking that tanner into your skin. Now, a lot of guys do it, and a lot of guys will tell me I'm stupid. And maybe so, but I'd rather play it on the safe side is to take the chance, roll the dice with that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's neat. We're going to have to run this back up again sometime, bro, because we got a lot to talk about.
Did you get a lot of questions?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I got a ton of questions. We're not going to be able to go through all of them, and it's always my fault every time that happens. I'm sorry.
I'm a big talker, so I'm going to do my best to just, like, when you ask the question, I'm going to try to be just straight to the point on it.
All right, bet. Oh, this is actually not a triple question. RND and Motion asks, is there a last 1 or 2 week high dose Winstrol protocol right before a show?
Not for me.
I like that he asked that though, because I do know that there are coaches that have they'll have like the same dose of Winstrol for like the last 5 weeks, but then they'll like up the dose of Winstrol for some reason on the last week or like the last few days.
I've seen it before. I just don't personally do it.
Right. I don't feel like I've seen a benefit that's worth doing so. I normally feel like it's best to just coast it. Plus, why exacerbate potential GI issues, with orals when you have to carb up. Dommy Building asks, best advice to get as big as the open guys.
Best advice to get as big as the open guys?
What's the best advice you have to grow big and do well in open bodybuilding? Like get to the size that you need to be.
Well, maybe somehow you can kind of clip this back to like where we talked about earlier when I mentioned like the fundamentals of like bodybuilding and, obviously training, dial it in for what's best for you. Nutrition, got to be consistent. You have to consistently be consistent. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So you're going to have to get used to the lifestyle. And then time.
Yep.
And then obviously, you need to figure out like what your body needs and whether like per year.
Right. Yeah.
Whether you're a hyper responder, maybe you can get away with less. Maybe you're a hypo responder. Maybe it's just not for you at all. Because I do feel like a lot of people are not actually able to reach like open pro bodybuilding status as far as size.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it's a myostatin, but I think there's just people that cannot do it.
Right. Yeah. I actually wish that I said this earlier because I totally forgot. But in regards to this discussion that we had, I do believe there is a slight difference in dosages among the divisions, but it's only like 100 to 200 milligrams on average in like just test. Normally, everything else seems to be pretty damn close to the same. Pretty damn fucking close. And then I'd say the second variable is obviously time. Like time is the biggest variable in terms of like you just have to have so many years in the off season growing under a surplus of calories to get as big as the open guys. You have to have so many years. So that's the most important. Dommy Building also asks, why did you decide it was best for Joe to go for the dirty bulk that one time?
I'm not going to sit here and say like that was kind of a mutual decision. I didn't entirely push it, but I also didn't fight it either with him. Like Joe likes to eat. Mm-hmm. Like,
oh, I know.
Joe,
bro.
Joe can change. Joe can change in any direction he wants really, really fast. Like if Joe wants to get lean fast, he can get lean fast. If he wants to get fat, he can get fat fast. And Joe's an eater, and I think he actually just wanted to tip 300 pounds. But like I also knew this would have been 2023 to 2024. I know the year that they were talking about in that. So we knew that we needed an extreme amount of size. So I was okay with getting a little bit fluffy as long as what was underneath of that was going to be productive whenever we dialed back down.
Gotcha. That's cool. Okay. He also asked, what's the training split that you followed to get that big, as big as you got?
Oh man. So my training split, like I've done multiple things. Like usually right after a show, I try to do 2-a-day training. Like I still love to train, but I loved it more when I was younger, probably because I had more energy in the tank. So I don't think I would train 2 a days now at 37 years old. Maybe if I hop back on and my recovery was fine, but that's a different story. But like I know I can't keep up with 2-a-day training now.
Yeah.
So I would do 2-a-day training for anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. And whenever I really felt I just hit like that wall of like fatigue where I couldn't go anymore, I'd have a little bit of a deload. You know, when I say deload, I'm not talking about lighter weights. I would just take several days off and then I would just start back with once-a-day training, give my body some time. But it was a typical bro split. You know, like I didn't do the PPO. Like it was a 5-day bro split.
Okay. Cool. We do love the bro split, especially if it has arms in it.
Yeah, I very specifically had an arm day. I probably didn't need an arm day, but I had an arm day because I like it.
I do anything for your arms, dude. Anything. Buzz Savage asks, is lower back pain and stiffness common post-show even when sticking to plan?
Since he mentioned post-show, what I'm going to go on a limb and say is he's talking about the lower back pump. I'm sure you know a little bit about that too, right?
Definitely know a little bit about that.
So when you gain a lot of weight, like over a short period of time, whether you're natural or whether you're enhanced, I think you're going to get that lower back pumps. So essentially, like your lumbars and your lower spinal erectors are going to stay kind of pumped up, so they're going to be kind of sore. And I would say it's rather normal, unless you're a guy who right after the show you get right back on your diet. You're not trying to gain weight. You're trying to keep it healthy, trying to keep things, I'm not saying it's unhealthy to gain weight, but like you're keeping your food, your diet, everything in check. You're not binge eating. You're not doing a bunch of dumb shit. And you're staying within like 10 pounds of your weight for a period of time, you're probably not going to have it. But like if you're going to do an actual, what my version of a rebound, I ask like my clients for biofeedback. I'm like, hey man, are you having lower back pump? Because if you are, and it's hindering your workouts, we're going to pull back. Because your workout is by far more important than just stacking more weight on the scale. So to answer that question shortly, I would say it's normal for a lot of people.
All right, cool. Scotty Witt says, won't find a better dude in bodybuilding.
Oh, I know Scotty. Yeah. West Virginia boy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Actually, I think Scotty just recently competed and he looked pretty good at that show. I don't know how he did. I just saw his pictures.
I need to see them.
But good job for him, though. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the best I've ever seen him look.
Congrats, brother. Congrats. Jet Jordan asks, what level of hematocrit do you intervene? Is this case by case? Not much info on this.
I typically I don't like to see 18 plus.
Okay.
Well, you know, so he said hematocrit. I was referring to hemoglobin. Sorry. Or did he say hemoglobin?
He said hematocrit.
51, 52, like you're fine. You're going to be fine if you're 54, 55, but I like to keep it on the lower end of things. I would prefer it to be under 50 in a perfect world.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my notes. I wrote notes on it. Oh, here we go. I think we have very similar numbers. So I discussed this with my doctor and he says must phlebotomy at a hemoglobin above 18, hematocrit above 55. Someone also asked, how did you do 2-a-day training? Ehada.
I don't have all these notes and stuff in front of me. As a matter of fact, I don't have them not in front of me either. And so this is me just going based off the memory. But like, for example, let's just say it's Monday. It may be quads in the morning and then it'll be shoulders in the afternoon, evening. And then the next day, maybe chest in the morning, followed by arms in the evening. And then the next day will be back in the morning, followed by hamstrings at night. And then
sick.
A day off and then repeat. Something down those lines.
That's fucking...
So I'm getting every body part in twice a week.
That sounds exactly like what I feel like would be right. I think Terrence Ruffin has a very similar split to that where, you know, you do like a main compound earlier and then you do like more of the accessories later in the day. And he's done it on a 4-day split per week, you know, 3 rest days, and he's felt phenomenal on it. And I've heard a lot of people say that, like, they've noticed that when they were able to like schedule out their workout split to a place where they have at least 3 rest days, obviously way better than 1, but like, you know, rather than 2 rest days, they almost feel like they do better off of that. Like more of the recovery time kind of allows them to see almost more progress in a way while still having time to like do something on those days.
This might blow a lot of people's mind, and I'm not condoning this, and I'm not saying it was smart. I'm just saying that's what I did. When I was 10 weeks out from the Orlando Pro, I did not take a day off.
The
Entire prep.
oh,
There was not one rest day. That's no rest. Like I did 5 days of cardio, but I did 7 days a week training every single day. And I did that all the way until 2 days out. And then what's really screwed up is after the show, I continued that for like another 3 months.
Fuck.
Like no rest days. I trained, but the thing is, I felt amazing. And it looking in hindsight, now that I'm smarter and I'm older, I look back and I'm like, man, you probably could have been bigger and better if you would have given yourself a little bit more time. Because I'm not going to condone anyone to do like 30 weeks of straight training every single day. But that's kind of what I did.
That's badass as fuck.
And I also did not have a cheat meal during that time as well. Like I just simply stayed right on plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like throughout my rebound. And I remember I was driving to Jansen was actually driving to junior nationals and I was with him and he didn't know that I hadn't had any cheat meals or off meals. And he they convinced me that was the weekend I'm going to eat something off plan. So that was like the first time I had anything off plan in, I don't know, man, probably like 5 months.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. How do you feel about the progress that you made during the time that it was kind of hard to dictate like the progress because it's kind of a weird time and it was good though. Wow.
It was very solid progress. I remember when I got up there to junior nationals and then I did Team Universe afterwards as well. Like just as not guest posing, but I was running booths and I didn't feel like I was the biggest guy there. But then again, I also have body dysmorphia. Like I never felt big, no matter how big I was. But like the amount of attention that I got there, everyone was like, dude, what the fuck? You morphed. So I was like, well, I must be doing something.
That's a sick feeling.
So like when everyone approaches you, like when the big guy says you're big, I'm like, maybe I am big. I don't know. But like I never felt it. But like I started getting like all the compliments. So like obviously I was making progress during that time.
Yeah. We're going to have to jump on another pod and discuss this a little bit more deeply. For a friend. Phil,
we'll just do one that's like just straight Q&A.
Oh yeah, that would work too. I mean, honestly, I kind of need to do that with a lot of people now. Phil, you're real so Lewis. Sorry, brother. Lewis asks insulin and GH timing and dosing for maximal IGF-1 production. Or I guess let's just shorten this to like your recommended insulin and GH timing and dosing.
So I've done this on multiple different ways and I've seen results on all of it. But rather than me getting into like 40 different type of protocols, I'll say what I personally did. So mine was I would have my pre-workout meal. I would wait about 90 minutes and then I would take my GH, depending on how I was splitting that up, whether I took the full amount or I took half the amount, but I would take GH. I would wait about 20 minutes and then I would take Humalog. And when I would take that shot of Humalog, I would drink liquid carbs with it. And I would be ready to walk into the gym at that point. And I guess I finally got known as a little bit of an asshole because like I wasn't the guy, like I wasn't walking, hey man, how are you? Like I just walked in. Just
like I need to, I need to get this shit done, man. I just took this shit like 20 minutes ago. I got to fucking
like
go.
I just took my insulin. I can feel it. I can feel things kicking in. It's like, hey bro, got to go, bye. In a hurry. So that was my protocol with it. I took it post-workout from time to time too, but I still did that same. I didn't take the GH post-workout, but sometimes it was GH, insulin, training, insulin again.
Okay. Did you take GH at any other point in that day?
Like if I would split it up, I would do half in the morning and half pre-workout, but I typically trained at like about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. Gotcha. There's not as many people that I hear skip the GH at night and instead maybe just depend on the natural production at night or so. Whether
it really like valid, when I was competing, it wasn't as it really wasn't talked about taking the GH at night back then.
Yeah.
Like I've learned a lot and I actually have guys do take GH at nighttime. I find it to be quite effective.
Okay, cool. That's cool to know.
But I'm just saying, I was referring to my own personal protocols.
Yeah, right. I got to say, man, like we love talking about all this shit and it differs a lot per person, but some of this shit really hardly makes a difference in my opinion. Like whether or not you take it in the morning or at night or this time or whatever, or like The amount that it just seems it makes a difference is always like 0.1%. It's
insulin's
literally
the only
it's
thing I
the
will say.
sprinkle on top. It's actually the icing on top.
Yeah.
It's like, are you taking
I
the
think
GH at all or not? That's more of like the question, really.
The insulin's more the thing that needs to be timed more accurately
Yeah.
rather than the GH.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like nowadays too, just like staying insulin resistant, whether you're using insulin sometimes to support your pancreas or you're doing other things to stay insulin resistant, like staying healthy or whatever, or using some kind of GDAs, I feel like that's probably the most, or like staying leaner, you know, like having a good diet where you're not getting too fat in the off season. That seems to be, like you said, one of the most important factors in just making sure that you're gaining quality, fast muscle.
I think staying lean and being able to keep your body fat down is going to keep your insulin sensitivity high.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what Dom Super Slice also feels. That's what Chris Tuttle feels. A lot of these smart coaches are the exact same way.
It makes things so much better because, like, the leaner you stay, the easier your contest prep is going to be. And the easier that contest prep is going to be, usually is going to yield more muscle actually ending up on stage rather than you having to diet your ass off and lose some of it.
Right.
So it's a win-win-win all the way around from a health standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, and then from a stage standpoint.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Let's ask one more. God, there's too many good questions, man. God damn it.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, I'll save the Q&As, guys. All right, Zach Parpiel asks, what would you change to improve the sport of bodybuilding?
Oh boy, I wish this would be a quick answer. So this will not be a quick answer on it because he left it generic, because he didn't ask what would you do to improve physiques. He said the sport of bodybuilding. So I'm going to try to dumb this down, or not dumb it down. I'm going to try to sum it up. The first thing I would do, I would never introduce another category. We have to stop with that. Like, I don't think fit models should have been in place. Instead, they should have sticking to the criteria that was given for bikini rather than letting the girls get too hard and awarding that. But that's we're at a point of no return, so that's why fit models in. But we don't need any more divisions. We actually need less shows. Like, for example, I'm sure you guys in California have a shitload of shows as well. But like in Florida, like if I had a Florida resident bodybuilder and he said, hey, I want to pick a show, can you help me out? I would probably say, hey, let's just diet, and when you're ready, we'll just compete next weekend, because there's a show like almost every weekend here. Mm-hmm. And what that does is, like, I don't think like people always go to like regional level shows and like, oh, bodybuilding's dead, it's trash. It's not. But like when you have like 40 shows in one state, it dilutes it.
It does.
So like you have like 70 to 100 people competing in a show, and out of that 70 to 100, you may have like 10 total athletes across men and women that look good. I think if we would cut the shows by 50%.
You're not
literally. I mean,
which shows exactly are you talking about? Are you referring to specifically IFBB or regional shows, like NPC shows?
Regional.
Okay,
regional. And I'll get into the IFBB on that as well.
Okay.
But like when you're looking at the regional shows from an NPC standpoint, there's just too many of them. And if we were to cut that down by 50%, I feel like that is one. It's going to produce a much better quality show and outcome, because you're not going to have shows with 1, 2, 3 guys in a class. You're going to start seeing more competitive classes. It's just like a lot of the shows in Europe and in South America where the overall winners, the only one gets a pro card. Those shows are so competitive because they don't have a show every single weekend. You have the best of the best showing up. And that's what I would love to see here. So one, I would eliminate that. I would also make it to where class winners only qualify for nationals. You have to win your class, not top 2, not top 3. You have to win it. Because the way I see it is, like, there's so many of these guys that will show up out of shape at a show thinking, oh, it's just a warm up, I'm going to get my national qualification. Well, now you kind of look like shit on stage. Eliminate that. Make people show up. Make them work for it. Make them earn it. So winners only get nationally qualified. And the thing is, if you gave it everything you got and you couldn't win your class at a regional, you don't need to be it. It means you're not ready for nationals. Like, it's that simple. Like, again, if you tried and you did everything you could do, and you left no stone unturned, and you still couldn't beat that guy at a regional, what makes you think you're going to beat him at a national stage? So I would do that. And at the pro level, the only thing I would do as far as shows go, I would eliminate some of the. They're trying to navigate this, so I will give them props on.
I think they've done well of navigating it for this year, for sure.
Yeah, of making the qualification to the Olympia a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging.
The shows are a lot more packed for classic and men's physique, at least recently.
Yeah, I think making it more challenging to get to the Olympia, because I don't want to see 60 people in one class at the Olympia. I'm going to get bored, like at that point. Again, it's supposed to be the best of the best. So bringing the top 20, top 25 at the most athletes in the world, that's efficient. So unfortunately, I think we're probably going to have to leave the amount of shows in place for very specifically like classic physique, men's physique and bikini, and even wellness, because those are your bigger divisions. Like if a show can outproduce, like if I was Jim, specifically Jim, because Jim would be the one to control this, not Tyler. But if I was the Manions and I saw that XYZ promoter, if he's not able to get at least 10 people in a category, whether it's bikini, figure, whatever, if you can't get 10 people to compete in your show and you fail to do that 2 years consecutively, I'm going to take the show from you, because I want to see 20, 25 people in a show. But when you start pushing 50 to 60 people in the show, there's going to be people get overlooked and stuff like that. So we got to find that balance where we've got like 20, 25 top tier athletes competing, and it's highly competitive, but also not redundant where you have like 60 people there. And you also don't want it to be like, I've seen pro shows with 3, 4, 5 people, and I'm like, what? Like, that's not cool either. So those shows should just be eliminated. Like sometimes when they host these shows and I hate to say it, like, third world countries and nobody shows up, you eliminate that show. Like, it's not picking on that country. It's not picking on those people. It's not picking on anything. It's just the fact that there's 5 people there. So you're going to essentially qualify someone for the Olympia that probably shouldn't be at the Olympia. So that would be one thing I would do. And then the backdrops on the stage, Fuad nailed it. By doing the black backdrop, which is what the fans asked for.
That was cool.
That needs to be taken into consideration.
Bro, I don't know if you probably didn't see this, but my last show was the Steve Carr in Las Vegas. Okay. Black backdrop, and they brought back the stars from, I'm trying to remember where in the 1990s, but
the Iron Man.
Dude, it's so sick, man.
The Iron Man.
And the lighting was, oh my God, it made my physique look epic, dude. It was awesome. Really?
Yeah, so like we need to do that. We need to fix stage lighting. We need to bring back the stage lights the way that they did things in like the 90s and early 2000s. I think nowadays they wash people out with the stage a little too much with the lights.
For sure.
We need to fix the lighting, and there needs to be like a generic protocol that's set for every promoter. That way it's consistent across the board. And I think it needs to be like, if you fail to meet the minimum requirements, then you lose your show. It's that simple. Tanning, I don't really have anything to say on that, because a lot of that's on the athletes. That's not really part of the IFBB and whatnot, because sometimes we see people with some really botched tans and stuff. But I think, let me think of some other things that I would really like to see improved upon. I would like to see more consistency in like specifically 3 divisions: bikini, men's physique, and wellness. I want to see consistent patterns in the judging, and not with people, but with the criteria. Like you can't have like first through fifth can't be hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, or big, small, big, small, big, small. It's got to be consistent throughout the board. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but there needs to be a meeting amongst the judges, and it needs to come from, the top tier down, because I've just seen shows where like first place is hard. Like, I'm referring to like specific, like bikini and like wellness. First place may be very, very hard and dense. Okay, cool. That's the look you like. That's fine. No argument. I won't say they deserve to win or they didn't deserve to win. But then you've got second place who looks like they're 4 or 5 weeks out. And then you've got third place that is hard as nails. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what's the deal here? Like, we can't be doing this, because it doesn't happen in men's bodybuilding. I mean, we've seen some bad calls, but that's a whole different story. It's far and few.
Right.
Like,
It's not a consistent
when
thing
it comes
like
to
this.
the inconsistency,
Yep.
I think that needs to be corrected, because that would give the girls and the coaches an idea of exactly what they need to bring, rather than us just taking a stab in the dark.
Agree.
What were you going to say?
I don't want anyone to like just a disclaimer, like maybe this isn't true or not, whatever. Because it's from an ear from another ear. But I was told by a top 5 bikini Olympian that they made a mistake this last year with that, and for bikini, and they're really trying to they're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. The criteria of why Miss Olympia bikini is, chosen and placed is very, very clear. So hopefully that'll.
Oh, with Marine.
I didn't want to like.
No. Marine probably wasn't the one to tell you, but I assume they're talking, because I had this conversation in the gym with a couple the other day. Like, Marine was the softest of the top 5.
She was softer. She looked amazing, and her fucking stage presence was the best, but she was definitely softer. It was clear.
See, that's the thing. It's like we need to figure out like
right criteria
a little bit more, like, or better yet, break it down into categories. Maybe like your posing and your stage presence is worth 50% of your score. Something like, how like with fitness they have, I think it's 2/3 on your routine and 1/3 on your physique or something like that, of how they do that. Like, however they wish to do it, but it needs to be a little bit more consistent across the board on that. Damn, my thing just said battery low, so we probably got like 5 to 8 minutes left to go on this.
Well, honestly, kind of got to wrap it up right now, to be honest. But if that's okay. But I do have one last question I ask everyone at the end of every podcast, and obviously we're gonna have to do this again, so it'll be okay since we get to. But if this is the first time I've brain farted on my own last question. If you were to disappear on the God, Jesus Christ, dude, I really am tired. If you're gonna disappear from the world tomorrow and you had one message you could send to the entire world today, what would the message be?
Oh shit, you really put me on the spot with that one. I wasn't expecting that. Oh. Damn. I gotta think fast before these die too. Probably, I mean, this is going to sound very vague and very generic, probably, but like, try to be more, because I lived the vast majority of my life more pessimistic than optimistic. So I just think people need to have a more positive outlook on things. And also, stay the hell off the internet. And if you can't say it to someone's face, don't say it on the internet either.
Yeah.
Like, try to be a little bit more positive.
I like that.
Like, I don't really know what else to say on that, because like like where my job is online, I'm on the internet all the time, and I'm just like, man, this is just depressing to see how people act nowadays.
I gotta
spend more time outdoors too.
Oh, fuck yeah, definitely helps with the positivity. I gotta be real with you, man. I really appreciate that coming from you, because there's a lot of people in the Midwest that aren't that way. A lot of people in the Midwest, in South or whatever, that aren't. They just don't follow a mindset of positivity. There's a lot of cynicism. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of talking behind other people's backs. And I really do believe that drives them in the wrong direction for their own future as well, So having that mental fortitude and believing in things happening, having hope and moving forward in that fashion, just kind of like manifesting in a way, that shit actually does bring you to a better, more positive life. So I think I really love that you say
Definitely
that.
Does. It gives you a peaceful life.
Yeah. I appreciate that for sure. Cool. All right. Well, where can everybody find you, bro?
Instagram is going to be the fastest place to reach me.
Oh, yeah.
My handle, IFBB. Yeah, no, because I've changed it like 4 times over the years. It's Justin R. Compton, no spaces.
Justin R. Compton. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you again for coming on, bro. I think that was an amazing podcast. A lot of people are going to have a lot of value to derive from it for sure. And
I hope so.
They're going to also be upset that we didn't finish the Q&A, so we're going to have to do that soon.
Yeah, we can do a separate one just for Q&A if we have to.
All right. Easy for me. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your holidays, bro. And we'll catch up soon for sure.
All right, man. You too.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm in California as well, because I usually come out a couple times a year.
Please do, bro. Please do. I would love that.
All right, man. I'll see you soon.
All right. You too, brother. Later, man.